but I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? This show is live. And if you want to be part of the show, the number to call is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. I'll read that out as we go. And as always, we're taking your phone calls as part of the transparency process of this show and what the rest of the world should be, in my opinion. What is this show about? You may be thinking, if it's your first time here. Well, this show is about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. And like I said, we are live. We are streaming on Facebook, DLive, and YouTube. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And phone number is up on the stream. We are reading all the chats and trying to keep up with all the things. And appreciate all the thoughtful chat out there, all the enthusiasm for the show. And like I said, it makes my world go around. I can't thank you guys enough for being excited about these types of topics. I always have been, and I still am, and nothing has changed. So that's the deal. 702-957-1037. We're taking your phone calls at any point during the show. And you could also find the phone number at troubledminds.org. That's your one-stop shop for everything Troubled Minds. And it's got the Discord link there, which you can join the show that way, which is Discord is a chat client. It is a voice client. And it's a fantastic little program if you haven't used it. So it's more of a free way. It's all completely, totally free. If something pops up and they say, pay us money, don't do it because it works perfectly in the free mode and there's no reason to pay them money. But they're a fantastic company and Discord is amazing. So if you haven't joined that, please go to troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, and also we got a second Discord running for Fringe FM. Go to fringe.fm/chat. Lots of smart folks there and lots of a very accepting audience, very accepting crew, very accepting community all the way around. And it's more of the throw your ideas out and see what people think, not more like the political garbage of today, where you throw out an idea and everybody instantly craps on it and tells you you're wrong. This isn't about being right or being wrong. This show is clearly about just asking questions, right? There's no answers, in my opinion, anymore. Everything is kind of devolved into a post-truth era, is what this is called. And as a result of that, I think in particular, it's good to ask questions. It's good to talk about these things from folklore, from mythology, from pop culture. Where did this stuff come from? From all kinds of different places that really kind of line up what would you say? Basically going back to the upside down that we live in. So all the things we do, all the things we talk about, it's spooky, it's scary. And tonight is again what my detractors will say is, yes, that's right, we're going to be telling ghost stories on the internet tonight. That's what we do. That's what we're going to do tonight anyway. We've been very, very heavy in the UFO news. So we are a UFO show, all right? We are, but it's not exclusively what we do. We've always tried to talk about all kinds of things on this show. It's just been that the past several weeks, probably months solid, has been so just chock full of UFO news that we've basically turned into a UFO show. So as we do this and kind of we pay attention to that stuff, and we're going to continue talking about it. But I think it's good to take a break and maybe get off of Jeremy Corbell's case for a little while, or really not consider the propaganda aspect of UFOs for just a little while, just maybe a little day here and there to kind of squeak in some other good stories. So we will keep an eye on that stuff as it develops, but don't worry, as things happen, we'll be talking about them on this show. So okay, the deal is this though. Tonight I was really looking for some things to talk about that we haven't touched on, and it's hard now. I mean, not impossible hard, but it just becomes like, okay, well, we did that show, we've done that, and done this, the other thing, we've done all these, we talked about that and this. No, well, tonight I figured something out that we haven't talked about yet. Very, very long time ago, 3 years ago now, we did a show called "Is the Internet Haunted?" And that was one of the ones that kind of got our ideas started with not just the internet being haunted, which isn't really the topic tonight because we did do that show a while back, but I guess we could loop it in if you guys want to maybe discuss that. But I was looking into some of these other things with not just particularly the internet. So just a brief, what the internet haunted might mean is that sort of in that same vein as people say that if you speak the name of a demon, you can summon them, right? But by giving them power, by acknowledging their name, type of thing. And so the haunted internet kind of aspect was in a question. Can you do that over like a digital divide, right? Can you do that from this very microphone right here through the internet to your smartphone or wherever it is you're listening to me right now? TalkStream Live or Fringe.fm or wherever it is you're listening, YouTube, whatever's going on, there's a digital disconnect or connect at, let's say, from this microphone to you. And so is it possible, like let's say, for instance, let's say I'm trying to summon a demon right now. Now, of course, I would never try and do that, so don't put me in that box. But let's say I am, and I'm broadcasting this to who knows how many people out there. Do you think that the internet has a way of maybe a kind of tickling that demon by not just in my presence, because I'm trying to summon this demon, hypothetically, I'm not going to try and do this, don't worry, it's not happening tonight, but because you're hearing it in the spot you're at, do you think it's possible to maybe get influenced by evil forces of sorts, these types of things, entities or shadows or shades or whatever you might want to call them? I don't know. Demons, aliens, I don't know. Like, there's so many terms for these things these days. But so that's really the question about the haunted internet. But that's not really what we're talking about tonight. If you want to throw that in there, it's definitely a conversation worthy of having, I think, because the general topic tonight is instead more like EVPs, the electronic voice phenomena. And of course, not just that, it becomes a completely other thing when you start considering that there's possibly like a ghostly world out there beyond the veil, or however you want to describe it, purgatory, Sheol, whatever the terms are, where these ghosts are trying to communicate with us through are electronic devices. And so, we've seen these ghost shows, the ghost hunters, and this ghost hunter and that ghost hunter. And I don't mean that, ghost hunter's trademark. I mean like the small lowercase ghost hunter type of person, right? Like that. You see that going on out there where these, they're making these TV shows and all the rest of this stuff. Is it? And I don't know, right? Like, it's hard for me to watch some of this stuff when I see Zach Baggins, run into like this haunted house, beating his chest like an angry baboon, and provoking spirits, that type of thing. Kind of makes me go, you know what I'm saying? But there's other shows. That's not the only one. There's all kinds of other shows. But you know what I'm talking about. It's like you see these guys and they got these little electronic gizmos that you've never seen before, and they got little stick figures dancing, and they're catching EVPs, they say, and all this other stuff, right? Like, and so I'm not accusing anybody of lying here, but what I am saying is, do you guys really think that stuff works? If you're trying to communicate with a particular entity of sorts, we'll just call it entity to kind of keep it short, because it could be spirits, it could be angels, it could be demons, it could be aliens. We'll say entity. All right. So if you're trying to communicate with a particular entity and you have, let's say, a particular device, let's say a recorder, just a handheld MP3 recorder. In the old days, maybe you still can with some of these newfangled MP3 recorders. Who has them anymore anyway? But you can hit the button and record, right? And you can record yourself dictating this or that or the other thing. But as a result of that, these things have also been known to pick up what are known as like audio distortions or audio, what are they called? Audio artifacts, right? That appear, that are not audible to the human hearing spectrum, but somehow they're picked up on these recording devices, right? That's kind of the basis of this EVP thing, electronic voice phenomena. And as usual, I was kind of scouring through the news and looking into some of these things, and or seeing what to talk about tonight. And one popped up. We've got a news story regarding this particular thing that's kind of going, I don't know about viral, but it's getting some attention, let's say, regarding a particular EVP that was captured in a cave of all places. So anyway, I don't know. So that's the question tonight, as we kind of go through and down the winding path of whatever the heck is really going on here. Is this stuff real? Is this stuff true? Can ghosts or whatever it is, entities from the other side, actually contact us through our digital devices? And so, of course, as you are aware, 300 years ago or so, there were no digital devices at all. So this thing is really kind of a new phenomenon regarding this EVP and these electronic distortions or connections to ghosts or whatever it happens to be. So anyway, that's the question tonight. So I'll go and do some more of this. So let's say haunted internet may as well be on deck if you guys want to talk about that. How about EVPs? And do you think this is real? Do you think you could actually pick up like a ghost trying to communicate with you through like a listening device of sorts? And then also, how about another one, not just like a recording device? How about very much like kind of like the pop culture trope of, Maximum, what was that terrible movie from the 80s called, with all the haunted cars and machines? I can't remember the name of the movie. It was awful, an awful movie, but it's definitely a pop culture trope, especially in Hollywood and sometimes in comics and all kinds of other places where these things become haunted devices. Let's go back to the early 80s with Poltergeist. You guys remember Carol Ann, right? Carol Ann, stay away from the light, Carol Ann. Remember that? Remember how that all started in that movie? I actually just went back and watched the clip because I was like, oh yeah, this has been going on a long time in these types of discussions and movies and trying to creep people out, right? The spooky stories on the internet type thing. Of course, there was no internet back then. So Carol Ann had a TV, very much like the one you see here if you're watching the stream, and it had static. It had actual static, right, on the television. And you could watch Carol Ann put her two hands right on the television set as the static and the white noise was making its hiss, the shh, right? And she would be communicating with, what were they? What were they? Well, I just watched the clip. And she said, they're here. And what was that, of course? The next morning, her mother asks, Carol Ann, last night you said they're here. Who were you talking about? And Carol Ann said, the TV people. Uh-huh. So I ask you, who are the TV people? And is it possible to actually communicate through these electronic mediums, let's say from the other side? So kind of a lot there, but I think it's good because there's a lot of ways to really take the angles on this. But, that it seems to be the ghost hunter trope now. Like it's become not just one of those things where most people have heard of the EVP, right? The spirits reaching through electronic devices, these types of things. It's become its own cottage industry now. And you could find like actual EVP recorders on Amazon and things like this, and people are starting to sell these things. Like I knew it became a thing when I saw these things on AliExpress, right? Alibaba, the Alibaba direct ship site from China. I was like, okay, China's selling EVP recorders direct. So that's it, Matt. Thank you. Maximum Overdrive. That was the name of that terrible movie in the 80s. Yeah, so with the haunted machines, right? So anyway, that's what we're talking about tonight. So as you know, this show is live if you want to be part of the show tonight. Phone number is up. We're talking about all those things. Do you believe EVPs are real? Do you believe that there's an actual connection that can be made through the veil, let's say, to a electronic device, and are we able to see these things and record and hear these things and play them back and all the rest of this? That's the question for you tonight. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, and let's go. Let's continue, shall we? All right, so this is the article that I found. I was, like I said, poking through. I have like a news aggregator that I set up, like a custom one that sends me some news and things, so I can kind of stay on top of particular topics here. And this one actually popped up as a paranormal tag, I think rightly so. This is from smallcapnews.co.uk, and I think the good news is I don't think this is a tabloid. Just because it says .co.uk, does that mean it's a tabloid? Is everything in the United Kingdom a tabloid? Can anybody tell me? Anybody tell me? Is there any news that comes out of England that is not a tabloid? Anyway, I digress. Sorry to pick on our folks from the United Kingdom over there. All right, so here's the deal. So this is the news story that kind of got me thinking about this and going, okay, now I know what to talk about. We've never touched on this. We've never actually covered electronic voice phenomena or any of these things, kind of other than that internet haunted thing way back years ago. So I think it's probably overdue to get back to this electronic haunting here. So here we go. Check this out. So this is from again. This is today, July 1st. The couple recounts. Headline. There's no headline. This couple recounts what a chilling moment it was when a supposed ghost tells them to leave. And they're in this cave, right? They're in a cave, and they're doing their thing. And I'll play just a little bit of the EVP so you can hear what's going on with this. But so the couple witnessed a paranormal event when they heard how the presence warned them to leave the cave. Social media is full of content some would call paranormal and scary, blah, blah. However, there are few recordings that contain material where a paranormal entity of sorts can be heard uttering words. This is the case of a video that has gone viral in recent weeks in which a ghost allegedly warned the couple to get out. Right, to get out of the cave or get out of the place or get out of wherever they were. I think this was a cave where they were at. So Tony and Beth Ferguson are a married couple from Hampshire, England. Every day, this couple dedicates their efforts to personal training and the financial sector. Added to this, the Fergusons have a hidden passion, the pursuit of paranormal activities. So this horrific event was recorded in a nearly 300-year-old cave while the couple walked through the Carnglaze Caves in England. So let's see, quote, "I've been to countless haunted places in the UK and around the world, but this place made me feel very uncomfortable," said Tony Ferguson. Let's see, in the same way, he emphasized at the time of his visit that to the cave, they did not know it was a magical place because they were simply there to enjoy their holidays. Quote, "As we walked, I felt they were following us, as if there was something behind us. I usually carry my cameras with me, so I started setting them up and didn't believe what we were able to capture. This white mist appeared in front of me out of nowhere. We could hear whispering voices constantly, but weirder something was when we heard a voice telling us to get out. And so this is from a YouTube video. I will link the YouTube video if you guys want to watch the thing in its entirety. I recommend it because it's not that long, and you may as well. And so you can see what we're talking about. But this is the weird stuff, right? This is what we're doing and what we're talking about tonight. These EVPs. Now this is from this particular cave in, where is this? Carnglaze Caves in England. And listen to this. Listen to this.
Get out. Get out.
All right, hear that? I'm going to play it again.
Get out. Get out.
All right, so aside from the cave ambiance, right, you have the thing, drippiness and kind of the cavernous sound of kind of nothing, right? When what nothing sounds like when it's in a cave, it kind of has that spectral feel to it anyway. Well, there's this voice that they're claiming is an EVP, and you can clearly hear it say, "Get out, get out," very much kind of in a monotone way, "Get out. Get out." So I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Sounds like Ganache, says Anton. That could be right. I don't know. I think that's the question tonight. So we see a lot of these ghost hunter guys do their thing, and they're walking around with their gizmos, their electronic gizmos, and like I said, they got them now where they have like these like screens on them, and the little ghost man is dancing around on the screen, and they're like, "There's the ghost! There's the ghost!" It's like let's go back to like the 80s with Ghostbusters, right? It just seems like it's even progressed to a more ridiculous degree. Remember the little meters that Egon and those guys used to walk around with as they're scanning things in the library and whatnot? Yeah, it's progressed worse than that, or better, I guess. It depends on your how you're looking at it. But anyway, so that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about these electronic voice phenomena. Do you believe that there's a way that we can actually somehow have a communication come from the other side? From, of course, we could say spirits, dead, departed loved ones, bad entities, evil entities, whatever you want to call it. Do you believe it's possible that they can somehow affect our electronics in particular ways? Very much like I was saying about the static and Carol Ann, right? The TV people are here. Carol Ann, who's here? They're here. The TV people are here. There we go. Emma says, I have a ghost box. And that's what I mean. It's kind of started this whole cottage industry, has it not? Now there's ghost boxes and all kinds of stuff that are being sold online now, which of course you couldn't find back in the day. You'd have to kind of whip up your own with like a tape recorder or something, right? And like just hit play and hope to catch some things. But anyway, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about this, because there's a lot of this where, you find, let's say in these TV shows, and I know, smack me in the face, they're TV shows. Oh, duh, Mike. But, they're literally claiming that this is a, actual ghost kind of coming through, trying to speak to them through the ether somehow. I don't know. So that's what I mean. And a lot of these you hear, right? Like when you hear them, I didn't bring a lot because I wasn't going to go dig through all this stuff and play you guys some really crappy audio of these crappy things. I think that was probably a good enough example. But you see, right? That one was pretty clear. Get out. Somebody said it sounds like Ganache. So these types of things. But that's the question tonight. We're going to be talking about this, and where did this begin? This whole EVP thing. How long has it been around? And do you think it's a phony modern concoction of society? I think that's the question tonight. So that's what we're talking about, and love to hear your takes on this if you want to be part of the show. And what time do we got? I think we're good time-wise. Yes, we are good time-wise. All right, so that's what's on deck tonight. We're talking about EVPs. We're talking about haunted electronics. We're talking about possibly a haunted internet. It's up to you. You know how this goes. I start the conversation. I point in a particular direction, and then we hear from you. So if you want to be part of the show, I'd love to hear from you tonight. Do you believe in EVPs or the dead or entities reaching across the ether to contact us through our electronic devices? Do you think that's real, or do you think it's not, or anywhere in between? Give us a call, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. More about ghosts, EVPs, and electronics after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and tonight we're talking about EVPs. We're talking about hauntings that might affect your electronic devices. Do you think this is real? We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive, reading all the chat. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls. What do you think about EVPs and electronics being haunted by spirits or entities from the other side? Love to hear from you tonight. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to James. James in Michigan. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
I'm good.
Right on.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show. What do you think about this, the EVPs and the rest of this stuff? You think this is a real thing? Or do you think it's phony because, I watch too much TV and I go shake my head and go, really, Zach? Come on, man. What do you think?
Yeah, TV is a whole other thing altogether. But I do think that they can be real. I have a story about that, actually. So I can go into that if you want. Yeah,
please. We got plenty of time. Go right ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, I just need to set up a thing here as far as how it happened. I'm as I said before, I'm legally blind, and so I've been to this training center for people that have low or no vision to learn just independent living skills, things to make yourself more independent and do things on your own. I went there once as in my late teens, and then again about 6 years ago. And the first time I went there, I was talking on the phone with a friend who had gone home from there, and this voice cut in on the phone, and it was a woman's voice. And I had heard it in the room, not on the phone, but just in the dorm room I was in the night before. So I recognized it from outside of the phone. And when I had heard it the night before, I couldn't understand what it was saying. But on the phone, I heard it say, "I'm coming down the hallway now," or something like that. And my friend heard it too.
Okay.
So I definitely think they can go through electronics. I don't know how, obviously, but so that was, and they confirmed they heard it and everything. So that was the first thing that happened there. Now, as far as that goes, so I went home eventually, and then, like I said, about 5-6 years ago, I went back for more training and met some friends there that were into the whole paranormal thing, ghost thing, and they were having different activity in the place, and I was too. And this one night, a friend of mine was in his room, in another part of the building, and he heard bumps and bangs, so he decided to try the EVP thing with his phone. So he turned on the recorder and asked if there was anyone there, and then didn't say anything for a while, and then stopped the recording, and then played it back, and there was a voice on his phone. And so that freaked him out, and he came to see me. I was still up at the time. I'm a night owl. Big surprise there. And he played it for me. It was that same voice.
Really? Okay. So it followed you home.
Or at least it was still there when I was there again, yeah. And it actually said something like, looking for the one named James.
Oh, so maybe it was following you. What the heck? All right. So okay. So you've heard this with your own ears. You think EVPs are definitely real. So what do you think it is then? Is it? Do you think it's actually like they suggest that there's some sort of connection, a way to step through the veil, maybe through electronics, or do you think it's something else? Do you think it's like a dimensional thing, or do you think it's what exactly do you think is going on here?
I don't know. I just think electronics. I mean, there's energy in electronics that they could possibly use. I do know that my friend's phone, it it didn't work right for a while after he recorded that. And it took him a while to actually even be able to delete the recording. And then once he was able to do that, his phone worked okay again.
Whoa, that's weird. That's some that's some next level stuff right there. Yeah, no. So I think that's the thing. Yeah. So have you heard them since then? So this was a long time ago. You said, was this? Have you seen any evidence of this since then? Is this like you have like a plethora of evidence, or is this just like maybe once or twice that you saw it firsthand in your life?
No, this is just like those 2 times. I mean, I do think that there are legitimate groups out there that investigate, and I would trust those more than obviously whatever you would hear or see on TV, and just because of the producers that are just out to make money on TV, at least as far as mainstream TV, like big TV. But yeah, I think it's real, and again, I think it comes down to energy. I don't know if it is other dimensional, like you said. I don't know the details, but I just think that it does have to do, with energy and vibration and all that stuff.
Okay, so yeah, so we got a +1 in the real column here. So I'll talk about it tonight as we go. But I've seen some evidence both ways. There's people that claim it's just a bunch of hooey for TV, but then other people that say they've done this on their own. And people are saying in the chat, like just like you've actually seen this happen as a firsthand experience. So that's pretty difficult to discount there. Is there any chance you ever got this was a long time ago, so probably not, but a recording of that, and any way to maybe share that information?
Unfortunately, no. Like I said, it was on my friend's phone, and it wasn't even working right when it was on there. So I don't really blame him for trying to get it off of there.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. No problem at all. So we got a +1. James says definitely this is real. What it is, we still don't know. Undetermined, right? And James actually does a podcast called. Can you tell us your podcast, my friend?
Yeah, it's called Salcedo Paranormal, and I'm also looking at doing a live, just an audio stream on my Discord channel, which is Salcedo Media, once a week starting tomorrow. So
okay, there you go. There you go. Yeah. A place to find, and it's mostly paranormal stuff, right?
Oh yes, it's all paranormal. Yep.
Okay, perfect. There you go. Please check it out, guys. Great call, James. I appreciate the story. Thanks for kicking us off tonight. We'll talk to you soon. Have a fantastic night, my friend.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. There we go. Simple as that, guys. Do give James some love. Fantastic dude here. He seems like he knows a lot about the paranormal, which is a kind of sketchy for me. I'm not really my expertise, so I do appreciate when we get people that are more in tune with this than myself to call and kind of give us an idea of what's really going on in the world there. So I see Flat Fellow in the chat says that he's actually done investigations and they had EVPs kind of come out of this stuff that for sure they didn't fake. So there's people out there that are doing these things, and it's interesting, right? It's what is this stuff? Is it real? Is it going? I don't know. What's up? Hell 21 says great call, James. He's brave using a phone again, right? There you go. The haunted phone. Good thing it was his friend's phone. All right, so we're taking your phone calls tonight. We are talking about EVPs. We're talking about maybe the haunted internet. We're talking about is it possible that our electronics somehow, whether it's television or radio or your recording devices, your phones, whatever it is it possible that we're picking up communications from the other side of the veil, whether that be spirits or interdimensionals or what have you, entities of sorts? Is this possible? That's what we're talking about tonight. And it's okay if you don't believe it. That's okay. We're again agnostic here. I'm not trying to make you believe it one way or the other. I just thought it was kind of curious that every time I see it on TV in particular, I get a little bit annoyed because they play these clips back and they don't really sound like what they're saying they sound like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it goes, and they're like, did you hear that? He said, my name is Michael Strange. And I'm like, that's not what that said. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, guys. Like, that's the type of stuff. It's one thing if it's like crystal clear, right? Or, even close. But I mean, trying to stretch kind of a really crappy EVP into, telling me it sounds like something it's not. No, I have ears too. I have ears too. Okay. Anyway, let's go. Taking your phone calls tonight, talking about EVPs. You want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. That's 702 957-1037. Let's go to Jack Jack on the internet. I'm not sure where Jack's from. Jack, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. I don't know if you can hear me. My phone is stuck on speaker.
Loud and clear, man.
And it's
loud and clear.
No, it's flashing like it's flashed crazy. Okay.
Oh, so are we getting haunted right now? Go ahead.
I have a EVP story.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you can hear me now. I used to work at this place. I was a security guard for a few years back in the early 2000s, and I started hearing about EVP. I think it was probably from Coast to Coast or something like that, because I don't know where else I would have been hearing that at the time. But I basically, with my job, I was a security guard. I'd have to go on these tours, which would mean having to go around the apartment complex and just kind of check everything out, make sure everything was, safe and sound, that there were no homeless people walking around or whatever. And there are actually different floors of the basement that you'd have to go down, and the first floor was like a parking floor, and then they had a parking floor on the second floor, and then a parking floor on the third floor, and these are all levels that were underground. So it had this huge 3 levels of underground parking. And the thing was that I used to have this old Nextel phone, and it would have a little icon, little LCD at the top that would be green, which would let you know, you could make a phone call or whatever. And whenever I went to the third floor, three floors down in the underground, I would get to a certain place of the parking level, and all of a sudden, for some reason, that would be the level where it would turn red, meaning I couldn't make a telephone call. And I was just there must be a dead zone. So every night I would just walk around and I would try to figure out where the edges of this dead zone would be, because I was thinking, okay, if I needed to make a call and I was in the dead zone, I wouldn't know where to, where's the boundary, so I know where to get out of the dead zone to make a call if I needed to or something.
Right. Okay.
So I would test the boundaries of this dead zone, and the dead zone would change every night. I would go past one flight of stairs and it would go red, and I'd be like, okay, well, this is the boundary. And then the next night I would, it would be like maybe 20 feet before the stairs. And I was just like, okay, why is it changing constantly? And then I started thinking, wait a minute, maybe it's some kind of an entity that whenever I cross into its path and it's close enough to me, it makes the icon, the LCD from my phone go from green to red, meaning, the entity was too close for me to make a call. It was kind of right on top of me or whatever. So I started thinking oh, well, this might be a ghost or something. So I decided to take a little dictaphone and I put it up into the third level, which would be, 3 levels down or whatever in the parking structure. And I just let whatever it was, I just said out loud, hey, I'm going to try to record you. If you can, try to say something on this recorder. And at the time, I didn't know, a lot of people will actually stay there and ask questions or whatever and try to get a reply back. I just would set it and I would record it and just leave it alone. And then I would come back and try to listen to it. Well, I did this for a couple of days, and I wasn't getting anything, and I was getting really frustrated because I was like, I know there's something here, because every time I go down into this lower level, every time the LCD changes at a different place. So I was just like, I know that, there's got to be something down here. And I just got so frustrated on the third night because I wasn't hearing anything on the little dictaphone. I just turned around and I yelled, and, there's nobody down there because it's just a third level of parking or whatever. And I just yelled out loud. I'm like, if you're not going to help me, screw you. I'm just going to forget about you. And as soon as I said, I'm going to forget about you, one of the car alarms that was maybe 20 feet, 30 feet away, for no reason, other than, I don't know, me yelling or whatever, decided to go off, the car alarm. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Hey.
What the hell, I'm sorry.
You're killing me.
And I looked over, I'm just like, is there a homeless guy or something over there? And there wasn't anything over there. So it was almost like, the entity was trying to tell me, hey, I'm trying to help you, but there's nothing I can do or whatever. So I think it tried to show me by activating this car alarm, hey, I'm here, but there's nothing I can do about you trying to record anything on this little dictaphone or whatever. So that was it scared the crap out of me too, because I was just like, you know what, if you're not going to help me, then I'm just going to forget about you. And as soon as I said that, like, the car alarm went off, like, 20 feet away from me. I was like, oh, my gosh.
So you do think there is a way for something to communicate through our electronic devices. What do you think was happening there? Do you think it was an entity of sorts?
Well, like I said, I think it was almost like the entity was trying to, like, hook up with me because it was floating around by me when I was doing my tours of the, the underground parking, but it couldn't help me with the dictaphone. Like, almost like, well, I can't say anything onto the tool that you're trying to use or whatever. And I know you're frustrated, but it's like, I'm frustrated too. And it's like, here I am yelling kind of out into the ether, like, hey, if you're not going to help me, then I'm just going to forget about you, because I was sick of trying to, like, somehow come across this other entity and try to communicate. I was figuring, like, I'm doing everything I can with the dictaphone. Why don't you actually record something on there so I can, get a communication from you? And so I was getting frustrated, like, thinking, like, you're not working hard to try to help me to communicate with you. Screw you. I'm just going to forget about you. And as soon as I said that, the car alarm went off like 20 feet from me, and I was looking around. At first, like I said, it scared the crap out of me because, it's so dead down there. There's nobody down in the underground. And then I looked around thinking, like, well, it might be a homeless guy or something, like, around by the car. There's nothing over there at all. It was just, it was just really scary. Even right now, thinking about it, like, kind of scares me, because it's like I felt like that, if it wasn't me, my energy, like, going into the car and when I was so frustrated or whatever, then maybe it was the entity kind of telling me, like, like, well, screw you then too. If you're going to forget about me, I'll forget about you.
Yeah.
And then, the car alarm went off or whatever. So it was just kind of like, it was almost like there's so much tension in the air down there. It was only like me and like the thin air, other than, my thought that it might be another, entity or something. And that was it. It was like kind of a clash of, like, both sides are, like, so frustrated, it's like, damn it, we want to communicate with each other, but we can't, so.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
It's very weird.
That's pretty odd. And I've heard these things before. I've heard, like, car alarms or lights turning on and off, kind of in answer to that sort of thing. And so what you're doing there actually is that's called provoking, right? That's what that Zach Baggins guy does. He goes in there and starts screaming at the spirits or whatever to try and get some sort of reaction. So if you're doing that and got a reaction, that's creepy as hell. I appreciate it, Jack. We got to roll. We got stuff to get to here. Anything else while we got you on the phone? Anything else while we got you on?
No, it's just. No, you bringing this up kind of, I don't know, it's almost like time traveling back to that time. It's like, I'm going to try to, stay with the stream or whatever, but I got to kind of, like, meditate and think about that whole thing, because I forgot about that, and that was like 15 years ago, and I'm getting really, like, goosebumps and stuff on my arms, so I'll get with you later. Thank you, Mike.
Okay,
all right,
thanks for the call. Appreciate it, my man. That's Jack from YouTube, and good stuff. That got a couple fantastic stories tonight already. So that's what we're talking about. That's the deal. So we started with this story in the cave, right? We started with the EVPs, and here's the link. I'm going to link it back so you guys can see. And so this couple was out on vacation, on holiday, as they say in the United Kingdom, and they were doing their thing, right? And they were just kind of going into this cave, just as a kind of a hiking kind of leisure type of why you'd go into a cave. And they were also paranormal researchers by hobby, all right? So they said they heard whispering and all kinds of things happening, and then they heard these EVPs, all right? Let's play this again straight from the YouTube video, and this is what they heard inside the cave. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Do you think this stuff is real, or do you think this is all just a bunch of fabricated hooey? So let's play this. So they're inside the cave, and they say they heard whispers at first, then they started recording, and they got caught on video here, the audio of a spirit or entity telling them to get out, and this is what this sounds like.
Get out. Get out.
That almost even sounds like a proper British lad, if you know what I'm saying. Like it's there. The accent is almost there. Let's see. Let's play this one more time.
Get out. Get out.
Right, so the ambiance of the cave, and then we have something saying "get out." Get out. Get out. So is that real? Is there an actual ghost in that thing? Well, there's another article, of course, as you start looking into this and you Google it, and I say Google, but I don't really use Google. But anyway, I digress. So there's another article that says fans of the paranormal are harshly criticized after sharing a video recorded in a cave. So here's another one, right? So then it becomes this other thing where people share this, and then they kind of get crapped on by the other folks, right? The non-believers. And like anything else, right, it becomes a contentious thing, and people start flinging poo at each other and saying, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong. And so, well, unfortunately, that's what humans seem to digress to so many times. But I don't know. So here we go. Let's read just a little bit of this. So the viral video, we just heard in the cave, the get out. So there's a clip recorded by husband Tony and Beth Ferguson, who live in the town of Taunton in England. As seen on their social media accounts, both call themselves ghost hunters. Recently, the video of the most recent intervention was shared. This occurred in the Carnglaze Caverns, which are located in Liskeard County. Okay, so as you can imagine, very few people believed what you saw, and they fired without the slightest mercy their most cruel comments against the Fergusons. And of course, this is the second article here. Did I just link that? Yes, I did. All right. So in any case, these are kind of story non-stories, right? It's like some people say, "Oh, look what we caught. We're ghost hunters, and we caught this EVP of some entity telling us to get out of the cave." Right? Sure, fine. That's all fine and well. But then, of course, then we have the internet. The internet chiming in and actually saying things like, terrible things. We don't need to read the terrible things, but you've seen it all. You believe in ghosts, do you? Oh, I'm sure you believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, right? Stupid comments like that, right? But I don't know. I think it's more of a more dynamic conversation than that. It's not just you believe in ghosts or you don't. I think that's one of those pretty binary type questions that. If you asked me that point blank, I'd have to say, well, it's complicated. I don't know if the term ghost is even appropriate in many of these cases. So that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about, do you believe that from the other side, ghosts or entities of sorts or interdimensionals or whatever it is, whatever's going on, are able to actually contact us and communicate through our electronic devices? That's what we're talking about tonight. Do you think this is possible, or do you think it's part of that whole just electromagnetic field of the Earth communicating with or not communicating, interfering with our devices, and that sort of causes us that human pareidolia effect of trying to hear things that may not be there? I can see both sides of this, and I can see probably cases where maybe both of these things can be true at the same time. But I don't know. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what you think. And so we're taking your phone calls tonight. If you want to be part of the show, this is Troubled Minds. I am Michael Strange, and we're talking about EVPs. Talking about electronics, ghosts, and if this is actually real. What do you believe? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We've had a couple fantastic calls to kick us off here, telling us stories about actual EVPs that they've seen firsthand in their life. Have you seen anything like this? Do you believe this is real? How about the TV versions? We can talk about that too. Zach Baggins beating his chest and howling at the moon. You dirty ghosts, get out here. I want to talk to you. Don't go anywhere. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. More EVPs, ghosts, and all the things that go bump in the night after the break. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Let's unmute myself. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. This show is live. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and DLive. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. If you want to be part of the show at any point tonight, as part of the transparency process, which I think is very important, we're taking all calls. We're talking about EVPs, ghosts in the machine. We're talking about maybe reaching through from the other side through electronic devices, and we want to hear your stories. If you believe this, great. If you don't, also great. If it's somewhere in the middle, I think that's what makes a good conversation. Give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also get on the show by joining Discord. Go to troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, and at troubledminds.org, the official website, you'll find the phone number, the Discord link, and all the things, the podcast and all the stuff that is Troubled Minds. We're also running a second Discord at Fringe. A lot of communities coming together, a lot of smart people out there having great conversations. Go to fringe.fm/chat. You get a direct invite to the Fringe Discord as well. And I'm watching all of them. I'm doing my best to watch all of them. I got like 5 chat boxes up and trying to read these things and trying to be on top of the game here. But the most important part of this conversation is you. It's not about what I think. It's hopefully I'm doing a good job of I'm human. It leaks out. You hear what I think, right? I make fun of fake UFO videos sometimes, and because they're fake. What can you do? And Zach Baggins beating his chest and running into a house and screaming at the ghosts. It's hard for me to, let's say it's a television show, so it's hard for me to take that particular activity seriously. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean I don't believe in these things. It doesn't mean that I instantly discredit everything. It's just, I think you have to take, in my opinion, you have to be able to walk that middle line and take each thing case by case and look at the evidence itself and go from there. So looking to hear from you. Like I said, you know what I think. I'm trying to do my best to be agnostic about these things and not tell you what to think. But I do love to hear your stories, firsthand accounts of maybe you've seen, like Tommy in the chat there says he's actually been out ghost hunting, recording EVPs, and that when they came back and actually played these things back, that there wasn't they didn't fake it, but they actually heard some things. So that's the stuff I want to hear. If you guys are actually good with this and have stories regarding EVPs, or if you just think they're fake, or you have a take on this, or you think they're real, or whatever, that's part of the conversation. So give us a call, 702-957-1037. Dark Devious says this: I think spirits can become trapped here on Earth from crossing over. And so there's a lot of that too, right? When you're talking about sort of in the ghostly realms and the veil and these types of things, is that there's definitely a, what would you call it? A divide. There's definitely a divide. That's what the term the veil actually represents. The divide between where the living and the passed on reside. All right. But is it true, right? People have speculated this in the past as well, with purgatory and with Sheol and with places where ghosts get stuck and they don't know they're supposed to move on. And so that, again, back to poltergeist, like we were saying kind of when we started the show tonight, is that do you believe that there's something to be said with the static in the television, right? Has anybody ever done that? Have you actually turned on like one of those old televisions and just kind of stared into the static and not messed with the channel, just stared into the static to see if your brain, maybe the pareidolia took effect, or maybe you actually saw something in the white noise? Has anybody ever done this? I recommend it. I highly recommend it. Just don't sit too close to the television set. But in any case, Carol Ann, stay away from the light. Stay away from the light. So I think that's part of the conversation here, is that, do you think that, like Dark Devious here suggests, that the ghosts get stuck? They get stuck and they can't pass on from this mortal world to the next, and maybe that's what we're picking up in these electronic interferences or the EVPs or the rest of this. So yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight and taking your calls. Phone numbers up. So I'm going to go back to this real quick because I know that people on radio kind of come and go, and this is what started the conversation tonight. We had this article from the smallcapnews.co.uk, and there's a couple that's out ghost hunting. They're not really ghost hunting, actually. They're amateur ghost hunters in their spare time, and they were out vacationing. And so they ended up being in this cave, just in kind of hanging out. And they said they heard whispers. All right, whispers in the dark, and they thought it was possibly some sort of spiritual thing happening here. And so they pulled out their cameras. They said they always have their cameras with them, and they started recording. And so this is what they recorded. It was the sound of somebody saying, "Get out." So listen to this.
Get out. Get out.
All right, so definitely it does sound like "get out" to me, but it absolutely does not have any kind of intonation, right? Like you would expect from somebody speaking, right? So "get out," like somebody mentioned earlier, it sounds very much like kind of like that Microsoft, here we go. It sounds like this, right? It sounds kind of like a robot reading something. Let's play this. Let's have a robot read, and you can see what we're saying here.
Tony and Beth Ferguson are a married couple from Hampshire, England. Every day, this couple dedicates their efforts to personal training and the financial sector. Added to this, Fergusons have a hidden passion, the pursuit of paranormal activities.
Okay, there we go.
Navigate.
You, oops.
Home.
Thank you, Microsoft Mike, for reading the sidebar as well. But AI, you got to love it, right? All right, so then that's kind of the cadence of a machine. It's not. It doesn't really have the cadence of a human being speaking. It's more the cadence of a machine. So let's hear this again. So this is supposedly an EVP where a ghost is telling them to get out of the cave. Here we go.
Get out. Get out.
All right, so there's more. There's more in the cave, and they're stomping around doing their ghost hunting stuff. So I'm going to link the YouTube video directly if you guys want to check it out. And there we go. There's the thing, and you guys know where to find this stuff. Lots of good chat. I see you guys out there. Thanks for showing up and hanging out with us. So I don't know. That's the question tonight. Do you believe this stuff? Do you believe that these guys actually captured an EVP of an entity? We'll just call it an entity just for brevity. Telling them to get out of the cave. Get out, right? It said something like this. I don't know. Like, again, right? Like, to me, like most of my experience and exposure to these EVPs has been through mass media. Like I said, through ghost hunter shows and things like this. And I have a hard time. I have a hard time with television in general, which is why I put myself on the TV. So, there you go. If you guys are watching the stream, you know what I'm talking about. But like just in particular, because right, television is kind of garbage in general. It's just a lot of BS, unfortunately. And so that's if I see it on TV, is my first thought is, yeah, but this is on TV. You know what I mean? So I don't know. In this particular case, it's on YouTube, right? So now YouTube is good and bad because it allows people to share firsthand stories like this and actually share firsthand accounts and have actual footage and things like this. But it also opens up to the world to all the hoaxsters out there, right? Could I fake something like this? Hell yes, I could. I could fake something like this lickety-split. I could have something whipped up in 20 minutes that might even be compelling, right? And that's what I'm talking about. So if you're good with audio, I don't think there's any way around saying this could easily be faked. And so it's a little different, I think, when you're talking about UFOs and lights in the sky and, putting like 3D objects into videos and, things like this. I just don't think it's the same at all. Like audio is so easy to fake. And I could put, the Satan's voice in there type of thing, like saying, get out of my cave or something like this. So I don't know. That's the thing that really kind of grinds my gears a little bit with this stuff, is that it's easily faked. It's kind of easily faked. And so that's why I have a harder time believing this in particular. And not only that, because it's very much like you would see on I don't know, like a bad Scooby-Doo episode or something. You know what I'm saying? But again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a fake phenomenon. Period. I'm saying that I have a hard time that when people play these things back, and not only that, it's difficult to ascertain what they're saying sometimes, right? It's not exactly clear. In this case, the get out is clear, right? It's clear. But most times, it's like I said, it's kind of like murmur, you know? It's kind of like this weird murmuring or something, or just a really weird angular like nah sound, you know? It's things like this. And you can't, I don't know. Anyway, I'll stop making sounds into the microphone. But it's so fun, though. It's so fun. It's so fun. Let's see. There you go. There you go. Doombot9000 on YouTube says, if you gaze too long into the static, then the static also gazes into you. And there it is. There it is. So anyway, I don't know. Like, okay, so there's more. Let's get more into this. So I was looking, of course, I started looking into this electronic voice phenomenon, what it's about, right? So all kinds of stuff. This is from afterlifelibrary.com, they call this. And this is the beginner, the search for the afterlife. And they're talking about, in particular, EVPs, right? EVP sessions and these types of things. So electronic voice phenomenon, also known as instrumental transcommunication, which I had never heard actually, is where communication with deceased entities occurs via electronic media such as radio, TV, telephone, or computer. A number of researchers have furthered the pioneering work of Jurgensen and Rodiv. If this sounds amazing to you, it should, because it is. And why shouldn't those in the afterlife wishing to communicate not take advantage of earthly communication technology? Well, when you put it like that, I mean, it's hard for me to refute it, right? I mean, why not? Why not? If there's they can amplify your signal or whatever's going on with this, sure, fine. So let's see. We've actually got where this began. Let's see. So the history. Here we go. This is from occult-world.com. The history of electronic voice phenomena. And again, like I'm saying, kind of talking about this just in the roundabout, because I've never seen it happen to myself personally. Like I'm a musician. I've recorded lots of stuff, lots of things, and I've heard audio artifacts. All right, that's what they're called. But I've never heard what I thought may have been a voice or things like this. So I think that's part of why I hesitate to kind of just jump in feet first in this and say, wee, down the slide here. So if you sense my hesitancy, don't let it bother you. Let's go to this, occult-world.com. I linked it in all the chats, and you guys can check it out. And let's see. Here we go. There it is. All right. So here's the history of this. According to this website, EVP is the first high-technology attempt to communicate with the dead and other discarnate beings. Perhaps the earliest documented EVP dates to 1901, although in that case the disembodied voices were heard during the recording as well as on playback. An American ethnologist, Waldemar Barragas, went to Spain to record a spirit conjuration ritual performed by a Takauchi, what's that say? Holy smokes. A shaman. Let's just say a shaman. There you go. I'll highlight it if you guys want to try and say a really, really large word Anyway, the ritual was conducted in a darkened room with only Barragas. All right, the ritual's in a darkened room, only Barragas and the shaman present. And the shaman drummed to enter the trance. As he did, Barragas heard disembodied voices speaking in Russian and English emanate from various points in the room. They were captured by his recording. Thomas Alva Edison believed that an electronic device could be built for spirit communication. He was fascinated by spirit photography and believed that if spirits could be captured on film, they could be reached electronically. Edison announced in the October 1920 issue of Scientific American that he was working on such a device, but it was not completed prior to his death in 1931. He left behind no machine and no plans for one. Joseph Dunninger, a professional stage musician and friend of Edison, said he did see the device that he was working on. So this is I don't know. There's a lot to this, and like I said, I'm not trying to crap on this hardcore. Like I said, I haven't seen anything to suggest to me, in all my time recording, I've recorded a lot of things. Voiceovers, I've recorded all kinds of stuff. Music, just farting around, playing a guitar, all kinds of stuff, right? Like none of this have I ever seen. But that doesn't mean, right, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So, like I said, we're taking your phone calls if you want to be part of the show. What do you think about EVPs? Do you think this stuff can be real? Do you think it's possible that the ghosts or the entities from the other side of the veil are trying to reach through and communicate to us through our electronics? That's what's on deck. That's the conversation tonight, and putting up some links and taking some phone calls. Let's go to Derek in Massachusetts. What's up, the Night Stalker? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
What's going on, Mike? Great show tonight. Cool stuff.
Thank you. What do you think about this?
This is pretty interesting. Great call so far. I don't have any personal stories. I'm more into the research than I've been lucky enough to have anything actually happen to me. But like lately, we've been talking about technology a lot, like mainly in relationship to UFOs and like new kind of Tesla tech. But the reason why I kept like bringing that up is because over the last few months, I've started to like dive down the rabbit hole of like where technology comes from and like what are people communicating with, like within electricity, and like is there potentially entities that exist on the electromagnetic spectrum that we just can't see and that communicate with us via technology. And like you were kind of just talking about it with Edison and the Spirit phone, but Tesla and Marconi, like two of the like creators of the radio, two of the founders of the radio, were both experiencing a lot of EVPs and anomalous sounds, they were calling them. And Tesla was working on his Spirit phone, and I guess like Edison had brought a bunch of people over to his house, for his own private unveiling of his Spirit phone. So I don't know if it was lost or hidden after his death or what the deal is. But these early electricity scientists seem to all be into the occult, all be into like contacting entities from the other side. And I think there's like definitely something to that, you know.
Yeah. So. Interesting thought there that maybe there is some sort of life or something living in this spectrum that's maybe not spirits at all. Maybe we're detecting something else. Even like Hell says in the chat there, alien EVPs, right? Maybe kind of taking a step in that direction here.
Yeah, it could be like ultra-terrestrials, like just things that are trying to influence us in some way or communicate with us in some way via electricity, you know? And like Tesla always gets a lot of like hype amongst the alternative communities. Like he's kind of considered like a hero and stuff. But under some connotations, he could be a kind of a creepy guy. He was like he died poor and stuff, but he also like so did Crowley, and he also like was like all around celebrities. He was throwing surges of electricity like through the bodies of celebrities at the time as like recreation, as like entertainment and stuff. Like that was the kind of things that they were doing. So now, like whenever I think of Tesla, I just think of like that picture of him with like lightning bolts coming out of his hands and stuff, and like Ben Franklin creating electricity, like that whole story. Ben Franklin was a dark character. He is a creepy figure, like super into the dark arts and that kind of stuff. So it just seems like from the jump, electricity has been tied to the occult very heavily. And I don't know. There's I know Rudolf Steiner got deep into the idea of Ahriman, and on the Roger Report a few weeks ago, I actually had a guest on who was talking about Ahriman, and essentially in like the Zoroastrian mythology, he's supposed to be like the demon of electricity, pretty much, and he's like, there's just an example of these entities that try to impact and influence humanity through electricity, and I think it's kind of weird, you know. And there's all kinds of like lightning symbology when it comes to like resurrecting these old ones. I know like the Kenneth Grant and like the Typhonic orders and stuff. They would use a lot of like lightning. They believe lightning was what would resurrect these old ones, and that kind of stuff. So I just think all kind of entity communication and electricity. Like I don't have the answers obviously, but I think there's a lot of ties between all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting part of this is that it could be. I mean, you know, like think to for some examples in pop culture, right? With remember the movie Signs, and like the little kid got up on top of the car with the baby monitor, and he was hearing like the clicks and the quirks of the aliens kind of speaking to him through some sort of a RF signal, right? Yeah, I think once you kind of spread it out in those terms, is that maybe it's not just a kind of a binary ghost or not ghost. I think the conversation becomes even more fascinating, eh?
Yeah, and like, what do you think ghosts are to begin with? Like, when I try to unify all these theories together, ghosts are the one that kind of seems to the hardest one to like kind of bring into everything else. Like, ghosts on itself, it seems to be like the most accepted. Like, even when all other kind of weird stuff was more suppressed, people still seem to be like into ghosts. Even like when I was a little kid, any kind of weird stuff was usually like ghost and haunted related. So it's kind of easily acceptable for people, but I don't know if it like fits the rest of everything else. Like, especially when you think of like the consciousness and where we come from. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if we're talking to dead people. Is kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not. It almost seems more likely that it's something else trying to communicate with us than it is ghosts. So, like, if anybody has any stories of like communicating with things that they don't think are dead people, I'd be interested to hear that. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Doombot 9000 in the YouTube chat here says silicon-based life. It lives inside your computer chips. There it is.
Exactly. It was. I know we're running out of time, but there's two pop culture things real quick. There was a movie with Michael Keaton in like the early 2000s called White Noise. I haven't seen it, but it's all about white noise being the veil between the living and the dead, I think. But I'm not sure if he was communicating with people or not, or like some kind of entity disguised as like dead people to like deceive, you know. And then also in Buffy, like the first season of Buffy, which was like 97 or like early 98, so it's like pretty early internet. There was a book, like an ancient grimoire, that like was scanned onto the computer, so it like let the demon Moloch loose on the internet, and he kind of like, this is like early internet, and he was getting into all like the military codes and all kinds of stuff. But then he was building himself a body, and at the end he like created this robot body for himself. And we're really like, all the elites seem to be really trying to create these vessels for these like entities somehow. So what if, I don't know, what if they're communicating with some kind of electrical entity that's on the electronic spectrum, you know, that we just don't really have words to describe, you know? There's a lot of weirdness. I don't have the answers, but I just thought I'd throw that into the mix, you know?
Yeah, perfect. Maybe communicating with the archons.
Exactly, yeah.
They
something
watch?
like that, something weird.
Yeah, something weird. I appreciate the call, Derek. Thank you so much, man. Great stuff as always. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend. There you go. That's Derek from Massachusetts. That's the Night Stalker. You can find him on the Fringe FM Discord. Again, another reason to join the Fringe.fm Discord. Lots of smart people out there. Lots of smart takes about this stuff. But what do you think? Right? You've heard some fantastic calls tonight. You've heard what I think. We've read some stuff off the internet. What's an EVP? What exactly is it? And do you think it is some sort of way to communicate with passed on people? Spirits from the netherworld, or do you think that it's something else entirely? And I think that's the conversation tonight. That's what we're doing, and love to hear from you. We're still taking your phone calls, and we got another segment here on Fringe, so there's plenty of time for you. Don't be shy. As you notice, I'll be nice to you. This isn't one of those political shows where we try and set you up to get you on here to tell you you're wrong. No, it's okay. It's all right. I feel we have the right to be wrong. And as a result of that, speculate however the hell we want. And you're very welcome to do that. Please give us a call. What do you think about EVPs? We're taking your phone calls at 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. More after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I am your host, Michael Strange, and we're taking your phone calls tonight. By the way, we're streaming on DLive, Facebook, and YouTube. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and the phone number to call is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can find the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Get in here. We want to hear your stories about EVPs. Do you believe it's possible that entities from the other side can contact us through our electronic devices. I've played an example a few times tonight from a cave in the United Kingdom where a entity of sorts told the people that were inside to get out. And so, again, like I said, to me, I'm very suspicious because it's easily faked. I can fake it. I could fake some really great EVPs, and if you want to put me to the challenge, you want to do the Michael Strange EVP challenge, let's do it. But like I'm saying, just because somebody can fake something doesn't mean there aren't real varieties of the same thing. So I'm also open-minded enough to realize that. So let's go to, we are taking your phone calls again, 702-957-1037. What do you think about this? And it's always best to hear from you. You guys know what I think. I've got this microphone hours and hours every week, but let's hear from you. Let's go to Daryl in New York. What's up, Daryl? How are you, my friend? You're on a Troubled Minds with Mike. What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Great. I was wondering, have you ever heard about cats communicating from the dead? Cats. Like,
yes.
pussycats.
Yes, definitely.
I don't know if you've had any experience or heard of anything, but I've had a lot of I've caught a lot of cats on my video camera. I had this once I had the cell phone camera, and it seemed to pick up animals, and I have proof of this, and I just shared it with you in both the Discord and in YouTube. It's like a 33-second video, and you're going to see an animal jumping across this bed. And I swear to God, this room was empty. But this magic camera, and I swear it's not I didn't CGI it or, do anything tricky. I'm not talented like that. But I've never really even thought, I never believed in something like the afterlife of anything until I saw this on camera. And it really made me scratch my head when I saw this. But you could see visibly there are definitely animals in this video. And I'll tell you another story about this video, but this was, I took the video, somebody had died in that bed 2 weeks prior to me filming it. So I just thought I would share that with you.
Okay, so regarding cats, so my mother, like I said, my mother, my aunt, they tell me that they see spirits, not just animals, but also people. And so, that they reach out to them to contact them for various purposes. And so, like I said, I've never experienced that myself. So I think I'm kind of like a spiritual knucklehead, I guess you could say. But I've heard cats, like their actual pet cats, coming back and visiting them, is what they've told me here. So I've got your video up actually on the screen just so people can see what you're talking about. And there is something there. So it's an empty room, but there's something moving. Is that on the bed? What's going on here?
There's something moving. You're going to see a cat jump. I filmed it in the negative. I actually refilmed it in the positive with the negative, and you can see everything in black and white. It looks like a white cat jumping across the bed. And then when I refilmed it, you could absolutely see it in black, the opposite color. And I swear to God, there's no way I messed around with this film. It was just from a cell phone, just videotaping off of a cell phone.
Yes.
But I could tell you something. I saw something moving in that room. There was some kind of ectoplasm. There was motion. But until I put the camera on, I couldn't see anything very visibly until I started, until I played it back. And I asked the fellow, I said, how many cats do you have in your apartment? Because I don't have any cats, Daryl. I'm like, oh my God, I think I just caught something really supernatural,
I see it very clearly.
Can you make it? I know it's terrible quality.
No.
Did you see the cat jump?
Yeah, I see it very clearly. So in the back, you can actually see the cat jump. Yeah, there it is. Its head pops out and it jumps forward, and then it seems to climb underneath the blankets, and that's and then it just.
There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a dog there too, and then there's a cat that was scratching its fingernails on a pillow. This is all visible through the lens of that camera. But you could definitely make it out. You know, there's like no doubt in my mind that we were witnessing something, something paranormal. I think, you know.
Yeah, the guy says there's no cats in the place.
I think it was fascinating.
Yeah,
you know?
that's nuts.
I don't know why it did go viral, but
yeah, you got some pretty good evidence here. So do you now believe that this is? Do you think that it could have been in the guy pulling your leg, possibly? Do you think there's any kind of a prosaic explanation here?
The chances of that, I don't think so, because he left the room. The room looked empty. Like, you know, just looking at it, it was an empty room. And I've shown this to like a preacher from the church in my neighborhood. I asked him to pick out how many animals he could find in that video, and he found turtles. He found dogs. He was pointing out all things I didn't even notice. And then when I told him there was no animals at all, he looked at me. He said, I don't know, Daryl. You got your one foot in a very strange place. You know?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know. So
you know,
have you ever... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But another time, I thought I saw at my mom's house, like a week before she passed away. I saw cats in her room with my camera. Unfortunately, it's not the quality that this was, you know, but I could see them with my naked eye, and there were no animals in her apartment. So there's something about animals. I think that they're very sensitive, and they come back. I heard, you know who's talking about it? Mary Ducina on Joe Roop's show. She said that, you know, cats will come back, and you'll know it's your cat because it'll give you like you'll know it's your cat when they come back to visit you, because it'll have like the same name or something, like somebody, you know, the cat died and then suddenly there's another cat that just came up from adoption, and the cat's name was Harley, like Harley Davidson. You know, so you'll know because it'll give you such an obvious hint that it's your cat coming back to take care of you. So I don't know if animals have a purpose, you know. It's interesting, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, maybe.
So you've never had an actual pet come back to visit you? I have not. So here's one. I'll give you a quick example from me. I had the other day, so I had two dogs recently pass away, little sweethearts, just loves of our lives, just amazing little puppies. And one was 16, one was 17, and they just both passed away the last 16 months we lost them both.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. But so my mother has been to my house, and she asks if I saw this particular dog that's passed on. I said no. And she's like, I saw him. He was here, right? And I was like, what? But, so I've never seen that, but I'm not kidding. I was right here where I'm standing right here in the bunker, and I looked down the other day because I saw some movement kind of down by my left leg, and I looked down, and I do have a dog now, but she was asleep.
Oh, wow.
She was asleep on the pillow over there. Like, I knew exactly where she was at. But I looked down, there was some movement, and it was kind of like a tan color. And I had a tan dog. One of them was tan. And I looked down, and it was something that definitely moved out of the corner of my eye. But you know what I mean? Like, is it your mind playing tricks on you? Like, I never got a good look at it. It came and went, and that was simple as that. But, you know, I've heard of these pets kind of coming back to visit. And so I've never experienced it myself other than that.
Can you put the...
Go ahead.
Can you make your light? Can you put more light on your video camera like that you're on right now? Because I can see these things. If the light is better, I could tell you if I could see any animals. I've seen animals on other people's. Like, I've zoomed with Zoom. I believe you saw I think you saw something. I believe that.
Yeah,
I believe it. You can make that light.
Yeah, no, yeah. You know, I can light it up here, but I mean, the more I do that, the more you'll see all the splotches on my face. I don't want you to do that. So.
Oh, or maybe during a commercial, you could just put the light on in the room, and I could just take a look around with my camera. I want to see if I pick anything up.
Sure. I'll do it behind the scenes.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'll do a video behind the scenes for that. No problem. Okay, so you've never actually had.
But I believe you.
Yeah, so you believe it's possible, but you've never had it happen to yourself, other than that video that you showed there?
No, I've seen I've done the Zoom thing, like on Skype calls, and I've seen other animals in other people's homes. Like, it's not the only time I've seen, like, animals show up, but that was the most vivid capture I've ever had. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had some crazy stuff come up.
That's pretty compelling if the guy actually didn't have any animals in the room, because that right there is nuts. I definitely saw a cat jump.
There wasn't any animals in the room, but boy, I saw them with, like, through the camera. I could see them, like, purring and, clawing the pillow, and they were definitely more cats. It looked like there was almost like there were kittens too, like nursing. But it's not very vivid because it's been copied and edited so many times. It just gets like more and more, what's the word? Decrepit, or I don't know, but the quality gets worse as the more you edit on YouTube. I use the YouTube editing tools that are not, superior. So the more you edit it, but I just wanted to capture like that, the moment that you see the most vivid cat, the visible motion,
Yeah, I definitely see it. I don't think there's any doubt. Sorry, go ahead.
When you look back in the history of, like Cleopatra, she had a connection with cats, in Egypt. There's a lot of history about animals.
Yeah, familiar spirits they call them. Actually, they're connected very well within. The old trope is the witch with the cat, right? It's they're definitely kind of built into our psyche somehow, and so I don't know how that translates to this, but it seems like it comes through. Like I said, I think the more you talk to people, like you said, Mary Gersina, like my mother, my aunt, we got a video that you just showed. It seems like this could be a thing. It could very well be a thing. So not only are we hearing like maybe EVPs, we're seeing videos possibly of what these entities, whatever they are, spirits or whatever's going on. Crazy stuff. And anything else? We got a call behind you.
So they can't speak English.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I hate to run you off. We got a call behind you. So,
but have you ever heard like those ghost boxes? What's his name? Bill. What's his name? Bill. Something. He's got this ghost box. I mean, it's like you just ask questions and you get like vivid answers. It replies with those ghost boxes. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen that. Clyde Lewis does one of those. I've seen it like the Clyde Lewis show. They do one of those things on Ground Zero. They do like the ghost box, the Dybbuk thing going on. Yeah. So I've only seen it there. I've never seen one in person, and I've never actually done any of that kind of ghost hunting on my own. So I don't know what those things are, what the gizmos are, and what equipment they use. So yeah, I don't know. So in the end of this, do you think it's possible that we're actually? I guess the obvious answer is yes, because you captured what appears to be some like a phantom.
I think there's something
cat
about it. And I was in Williamsburg. Is it Williamsburg? No, Gettysburg. Gettysburg. I know it was one of those burgs. And I went on one of those ghost hunts or ghost tours. And I saw a soldier leaning against a tree, and the only other person that saw it was the psychic that was leading the tour. So she and I both witnessed, we described the guy. He had a hat on. He was wearing 17th century, clothing, cowboy boots. And, she saw it and I saw him, So that was kind of cool. That kind of validated something to me, that maybe I can see stuff.
Yeah, I think even though I don't see any of it, I think it's possible and probable even that we have the ability to see these things. We just kind of have to be tune in. We have to be able to focus somehow. And I don't know how to do that clearly, or I would, but I think it definitely is possible. Daryl, I hate to let you go. We got a call behind you, and we're running out of time here. Thank you so much for. Is it okay if I share your video?
Hey, have a great night.
Can I share your video around? Is that okay?
No, please share it.
Okay.
By all means, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the call, Daryl. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon, you too. There you go. That's Daryl from New York. Great video. I'll link that in the chat if you guys want to check out her video. She says the individual she was communicating with said there's no cat in the room. There's no animals there, and clearly you can see a cat jumping around. It's obvious as obvious. All right, let's go to Mr. Mission Control. What's up? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you, my friend?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me all right? I got a new earbuds.
Loud and clear. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay. Well, I've got a lot of experience in my background is the occult. I studied the occult and communicating with the other side, piercing the veil, you know, since 11 years old. And so, well, one night I had a spirit box downloaded on my phone and some frequency monitors and recorders and stuff on a better phone than this phone. This is a free phone, but I had one that my buddy had bought for me when I first got into smartphones. So me and my son, who's a sensitive, we call these people sensitives, like your previous caller. She's a sensitive, and she might be prone to seeing animal spirits more so than other higher or lower frequency spirits, because she's tuned into it. She's probably a really kind soul and a type where animals would just flock to her for food and comfort, you know, anyway. So in death, so is to life, and that's the way things work. But so we were sitting in the kitchen, and he was telling me that he thought my dad, who passed away in 2015, was in the house. And I said, because he had seen something earlier. He sees stuff all the time. I mean, all the time. Where he works on his old train, and then he works in this old grocery store, and he sees stuff all the time. And here at the house too. And I've got wards up. I'm a chaos magician, so I've got wards up around the property. So when something comes in here, it gets trapped, and then my symbiotic transdimensional entity takes care of the rest. But anyway, so we were sitting there at the table, and I had the spirit box on, and we were trying to ask. My dad was there, you know, asking us some specific questions, and those spirit boxes scan the kilohertz and megahertz frequencies, the unused frequencies of high and low frequencies on the bandwidth. They don't go scan the radio frequencies that are being used. You know, that section is omitted on the scan. But it scans, you need to scan high megahertz or low megahertz, or high kilohertz or low kilohertz. The medium frequencies are taken up by, you know, AM and FM radio.
Okay, right.
So the spirit boxes, that's how they work. And you can do it with other frequencies too, but it's usually the radio frequencies, because I would want to make one that uses alpha, beta, gamma waves, like for your brain waves, you know. But that would be telekinesis. You could pick up on people's thoughts.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we asked, talking to Dad, and he says, "Hey boys, how you doing?" And we just both looked at each other and were like, "Whoa!" And we turned it off, and we were like, "Yeah, he's here," you know. And I have dreams laying carpet. We used to lay carpet. My dad was a carpet installer, and I install carpet. But he visits me at least 4 or 5 times a month in my dreams. We lay carpet. Sometimes he's drunk, and sometimes he's not, and you know, and it's crazy. But yeah, so that's how those spirit boxes work. And I posted up in some links in chat. Those were some black-eyed children frequencies that Something Daily had posted, that one, and he's supposed to have been a fraud. But there's some other ones, like there's some most scariest ones from a long time ago, and then some recent ones on YouTube, some EVPs that I posted that I found on YouTube. I have fun on your show, man, because you give me a topic and I just go right at it, you know.
Well, hopefully that's the idea, is to kind of get people's mind thinking in a particular direction. And as you know, I'm only one person, so if we take a thin slice of a conversation, it's crazy sometimes how wide it gets, because it's not just like once you say ghost, like when Derek called from Massachusetts there's no easy definition. It just like ghost can suddenly, just the term itself can become 10,000 other things, and so it's pretty amazing hearing the takes that you guys have. And like I said, I appreciate all the calls and all the good stuff here. So as you know, we're running out of. Go ahead. So we have about 2 minutes left for you. So go ahead, and then I want to ask you a final question as well. So make it brief, please.
So the ghosts are the remnants of the echo of your frequencies, your brain waves and your electrical frequencies, they emit. We're mainly transceivers. Our DNA has got these transceivers. We mainly pick up on stuff. We don't project a whole lot. Or is it vice versa? I'll have to look again. Oh man, that just
it's confusing, right?
Anyway,
it's confusing. Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you.
We transmit and receive at a high level through our DNA and stuff, and so that makes a mark on time, space, and the dimensions, and that's where your spirit comes from. Your consciousness is always going to be there. It's just not like waking consciousness, you know what I mean? It's more like a dream consciousness, or a spirit. But anyway, well, thanks, man, for having me. And hey, dude, if you need any research done, just shoot some stuff my way. You can get a hold. Just call me, dude.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Everybody, please follow Mr. Mission Control on YouTube. I'll have the link included with the show here. Thanks for the call, man.
I'm on my
2.0.
3.0 channel right
3.0.
now.
3.0. How many times you get banned, bro? Holy crap. All right, everybody follow Mr. Mission Control 3.0. I'll get the link and I'll include it in the show notes. Thanks for the call, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night, okay?
All right. You too, bud.
Appreciate it, bro. Thanks a lot. There you go. There you go. Simple as that, guys. See, I don't bite. Good calls from everybody tonight, and I think that's the crux of a good conversation, right? Like the old joke, right? Michael Strange walks into a bar, and who's there, right? Like what kind of conversation ensues? And it's you bring the energy with you. You have an open conversation. You don't try and tell people they're wrong, and you ask them what they think about things. And like I said, I learn more from people calling than I do from reading anything on the internet. So it's call us meat puppets, if you will. But I think that we are luminous beings, not this crude matter, as Yoda would say. So at the end of it, as we finish this up, that's what the show's really about. It's about getting together and pretending in the virtual bar we're just kicking it and having a drink and talking to each other and talking about amazing things with amazing people. And so as we finish, if you're listening on Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're listening on the podcast archive or Facebook, D-Live, YouTube, stay tuned for third hour of Troubled Minds. And thank you so much, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. I know you could be doing a million other things, and you're here tonight with us, and it means a lot. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for the great calls. Thanks for the great chat. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. Alright, what's up, guys? You know the drill. We're off of the Fringe now. We got a full hour for you. So if you have stories you want to tell, here we are again, right? As my detractors like to say, what are you doing, Mike? You're telling ghost stories on the internet? Yeah, that's what we're doing tonight. And we're looking to hear from you if you want to be part of the show. I appreciate all the phone calls thus far, but we have time for you as well. 702-957-1037. We got a full hour coming of commercial-free Troubled Minds if you're listening live. And that's what's up. That's what we're doing tonight. We're still talking about all the rest of this stuff. I got a whole list of some pop culture references. I got all kinds of things. I got the scientific explanations of what EVPs might be. I got all kinds of stuff to talk about. And as you know, I'll dig into that. I'll do it. Don't make me do it, but I'll do it. But as you know, I'd rather hear from you. If you want to give us a call, love to hear your story. Do you think this EVP stuff, communicating through our electronic devices, the haunted internet, any of this stuff, it's all on deck. Give us a call, 702-957-1037. The phone number's up, and we're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then more Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. Phone number's there. Be right back. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and tonight we're talking about EVPs. We're talking about the ability of ghosts or entities or whatever you want to call them to communicate through our electronic devices. And as you know, I don't have the answers to these things. I think maybe we'll give it to maybe. Let's give this one a nice dose of the maybe juice and go from there. And let's see what you guys think. Like I said, I got some stuff to go through, so we can do that if you prefer. But I prefer to hear from you. I want to hear what you guys think about this and all this other stuff. Is it possible that we have a sort of a electromagnetic sort of communication that happens through the veil to us from entities elsewhere? And so what started this whole conversation tonight was all kinds of things. Was a whole bunch of let's see, let's go with this. Let's go back to this real quick. So this couple was kind of checking out a cave. They're amateur ghost hunters, and they recorded an EVP in the cave. So this is what they heard. So again, right, this in particular, right, what does this sound like to you? They're saying that there's a ghost in the cave telling them to get out.
Get out. Get out.
Told you.
Get out. What was that? Get out. All right. And they had this video is again about 1 minute 15 seconds long. I'll link it.
Get out. Get out.
Told you.
But there you go. That's what they're hearing.
What was that?
Get out, get out. And you know, like many of these EVPs to me, they sound like a stretch. They sound fake to me. Just meaning that it's like we hear some kind of anomalous noise, and then we try and fit words that you know what I mean. And then so like the Zach Baggins crew and those guys would explain it away as, well, it's, not an easy journey from the nether world to here, right? Like type of thing. And so I don't know, I don't know what that means, or I don't know. This in particular sounds to me almost fake. And again, I'm no expert, of course, I'm no expert at this. And it just I don't know, but it doesn't really matter what I think. This is not the truth show. This is the question show. This is the what do you think show. This is the conversation show. This is kind of how we do it. And yeah, so I don't know. This in particular sounds a little bit phony to me, but what do I know? Probably a whole lot of nothing. So there we go. That's what we're talking about tonight. And so, do you think it's possible? Do you think any of these things are actually possible? That's the question. Love to hear from you guys. Going to put the phone number up, and you give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I'll get into some of the rest of this. There's some more interesting information from these fantastic websites. Thanks, Stefan, for hanging out with us, going to bed as a trooper at 5 a.m. in the UK. Look at that. Thanks to all the folks in the UK that stay up late with us. I know that we're going to call you the night crew, the overnight crew, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm gonna put the bottle of whiskey down. All right, so that's the deal. That's what we're talking about tonight. That's what we're doing, and looking to hear from you. So I got some more stuff. I'm going to get into this. There's more of this. So not only so the history. I was reading the history of where this began, right? With a little bit of the spirit box. That was it. Who was it? What's the guy's name? Thomas Edison was actually looking to get into spirit photography, is what he called it back in Edison announced in October 1920 issue of Scientific American that he was working on such a device to do spirit photography. And so with this in particular, right, I see that there's a lot of, this is a fantastic article, occult-world.com, electronic voice phenomena, and they're talking about where this started, and all the way back to 1901 they think is the very first actual electronic voice phenomenon that was recorded. So I think that's what's going on here. If you believe this, it's cool. Vicky says it is fake. Okay, so that one that we heard is fake. So Vicky, do you believe that that actual EVPs exist and they're real? That's the question. Thank you, Tam Bam. Appreciate that. Robert says, I find myself wondering if spirits of the dead broadcast their own podcasts from the other side, and our tech is only a couple of years from picking those podcasts up. There you go. I like the way you think, Robert. I like the way you think. Tam says, I don't know. I want to believe EVPs, but it hasn't happened to me personally, so I feel it's conjecture. Yeah, I think that's the point, right? A lot of this seems to be that we have to kind of be able to see it in ourselves, right? For ourselves to really like be a believer of these things. But who knows? Again, I don't know. So there's more. We'll go into this this actual history of the EVP and the rest of the stuff. We got a couple callers coming through. So we got Kelly. Hang on, Kelly, one sec. We're going to go to the phone first, and we'll get to you. So let's go to Joe in Florida, and then we got some old timers here. Joe, and then we'll get to Kelly. Joe, you're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you doing, my friend?
Not too bad. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, sir. Go right ahead.
All right. Yeah, totally believe it. Great show. Great calls. I know I've said a couple of stories, but try working in a funeral. The lights go on and off, not all the time, every once in a while. I can tell you from firsthand experience, after my father passed away, and I was working in the crematory, I was actually doing cremations. But, you know, he was buried. But I had this Kyocera cell phone, and it was it had the blue LED screen, kind of like the gentleman that called, I think, in your first hour. And I had the cell phone, and it would sit there, you know, in the garage, basically, where you did it, the cremations, and the phone would ring, and I would always miss the call, and the phone number was all ones. And it did that twice, and I found it odd, and I didn't really believe in EVPs. You know, I didn't really know about that. And that was probably about 13, 14 years ago. But when I look at the cell phone, I'm like, I wonder if this is him or somebody, because he had just recently passed away. Now, funny you've had the show. I'll go on. I could go on, but I'm not, because there's other callers. But just recently, in fact, it was this weekend, we had a party for somebody who had passed away in November from our family. So we were doing like a memory party. And some of the folks that were there, it's my wife's best friend and her husband. And he was kind of like a brother-in-law, you could say. He's 55 years old. Whenever you needed him, you called him. He knew a little bit about everything. You know, if I needed stuff done in the house. Anyhow, we see them on Friday. Everything's fine. Saturday, my wife and I go to Orlando with the kids on a vacation, and we find out that he passes away. The guy died absolutely unannounced and, you know, unexpectedly. So I'm talking with the family on Monday because they want to get pictures together because we're going to do a movie and a memorial service. And the wife was never one to tell ghost stories as far as I know. And I'm on the phone with her and I'm telling her we need to get these pictures together. And she goes, I'm going to tell you something. She goes, I'm not sure which pictures I want to do. But I'm pulling pictures out of this photo album, and the lights in my kitchen keep flickering on and off. And the only comment that came out of my mouth is, oh, you're getting that too. Because I've seen plenty of that. At minimum, I've seen people have these experiences with their electronics. You know, like you might see in the movie Ghost or something. At the maximum, I have a video of my son in the hospital bed, and the hospital phone was ringing. Nobody uses the hospital phone. Everybody uses a cell phone now. I've got a video of it, but unfortunately, it's always an excuse. I pick up the phone, and you see me on the phone going, hello, hello, and there's nobody there. And the phone had rang multiple times, which was strange. My kid's in the hospital bed, and the next day, his grandfather passes away. But when I picked up the phone, all I heard was static and like background noise, but nothing that sounded like a voice. It was just odd that the phone would ring. I'd pick it up. There was nobody there. It was just static. And it happened for that one day, and the next day, his grandfather passed away while he was in the hospital. So I've had these things happen. All the other calls have had it happen. I totally believe it. I think maybe we hang around for a little bit, unless we're a tortured soul. I'm sure that there's people that have lost their way, and they stick around. But I think most of us, after death, from my own personal experience at the funeral home, they stick around a little bit, and then they move along. You know, where do they move to? I don't know. If we're in a matrix, maybe they do go back into the background, into the ether, and maybe that's what Tess was talking about. Maybe there's that knowledge that, what do you call it, the Hall of Records that you could tune into, the Akashic Records, or the background. So, really interesting, but I will let other people call in.
So
good show.
Thank you. So you think it's real? You think this is a real phenomenon, and there's something happening. Exactly what it is, we're not sure, right?
Totally. And what they're trying to convey, it's not sure. What I tell people is this: whatever you believe in or you don't believe in, if you're seeing these little signs, you just have to take comfort that there's something after this. And as of late, especially after COVID, my catchphrase is, we're all just kind of here, you know, just watching the time go by. We're all just here to pass the time. You know, what we do with it, it's obvious, you know, you do the best you can with it. But we're all here passing the time. I have comfort that there's something after this. For me, hopefully it's ice hockey and strippers, and my wife yelling at me, but I really don't know.
Amen to that, brother. I got a great transition before you go. So we got Kelly on deck. We're going to go to after you cut out here. But Kelly said this a long time ago and linked this to us just recently so I could get it right. You're a ghost driving a meat-coated skeleton made from stardust, riding a rock, floating through space. Fear nothing. Thanks for the call, my friend. You're the best, Joe.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. You too. You too. There we go. Perfect segue, perfect transition. Let's go to Kelly. What's up, Kelly, my man? How are you tonight?
Good, bud. How you doing?
Doing very well. You like how I had your quote on deck? You share it to me. I pin it. Blam. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. You're cutting out just a little bit. Talk a little bit. Let's see if we can fix this.
Yeah, I mean, on our side, it kind of sounds like you got the bass kind of turned up a little bit too high on this side.
I've got no bass. I literally have zero bass. I've cut it all out from all the complaints. You get my natural voice.
Maybe it was just Joe's side or something. Because man, I could hardly hear him.
Oh yeah. It could be just a connection from the one thing to the other because it's complicated. I won't bore you with the details, but it's hard to hear from the phone to the Discord and back and forth. Or it's possible Discord reset my settings that I fixed. So anyway, we can hear you. So go right ahead. What do you think about this EVP stuff? You think it is real, or do you think it's a bunch of hogwash?
I don't know, man. That's I don't know. You could. I believe that anything could be possible, with something like that, because we are all. If everything is all energy, right? Everything. So like rocks, planets, they're just like it's like energy frozen in time. It's like being placed somewhere, because energy doesn't it doesn't die, it just transforms. Everybody knows that. So it's interesting that they can say that they can speak via electronic components. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of with what's his name, the Night Stalker on that. I don't know. Are we really listening to loved ones or other people, or are we just seeing? Are we talking to something else? You know what I mean? Maybe it's not what we think it is. But then again, maybe it is. Because a lot of people. I can't say that people are not seeing loved ones on the other side, but through electronics. I mean, again, everything's electricity, and if you what they call pass on, leave your meat curtain. Where's that energy go? Do you really transform? See, and like in Hindus and Buddhism, right? They believe that that's why they don't kill anything like bugs or like earthworms, trees. They try not to, because they, again, they say they could be ancestors, and who says they're wrong too? Because like I said, we're all energy. We just transform to anything. You know what I mean? Like that's what they believe. So it could be they transform into an earthworm or a tree or or a bug or an animal or something like that. So I mean, who's to say you can't really talk through? I mean, but why would you need that? I mean, that's the only thing for me. Why would you need that? Because you have people out there that's they can talk. They say they can talk to the people that passed. Maybe they're in tune. Their meat curtain is more in tune with what I mean, like a higher frequency. Because what frequency are we talking about? Is it a high frequency, very high frequency, ultra frequency? You know what I mean? There's different levels of that stuff. So why is it got to be just one? Why can't you can that's why it's almost, I believe it, but then it's kind of hard to say that. Why would you need that?
Yeah, no, well, with all that, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And where's it coming from? And exactly, there are different frequencies. And so I think part of the problem, just like everything else, like we talk about UFOs all the time, I think part of the problem with that in particular is there's so many people that are literally just out for a buck, just trying to fake it and just fool everybody and just pull some bullshit. Like I said, I can fake an EVP like you'd never believe, right? I can make some real sounding shit, but I'm not trying to do that. Like, that's an easy way to get clicks, but that's not what I want to do. I'm not trying to make a fake UFO video, but it doesn't mean that those things are fake in and of themselves. You know what I'm saying? But there's a whole lot of hoaxsters out there. There always have been. And that's part of the problem that kind of muddies up the waters here. And like you say, there are different levels of frequency and energy and vibration in these things. There are, for sure. Like Mission Control was saying, there's, different vibrational spirits even. Right? Like, is that true? Maybe. Possibly, probably, I don't know. That's the thing, is that lower vibrational spirits or higher, or I don't know. We are luminous beings, not this crude matter. Back to that, right? We are energy. And so when you start stretching into some of these other realms of the paranormal, it doesn't surprise me, or it doesn't scare me or spook me off that this stuff may be true in some capacity. How exactly, I don't know. But, right, I mean, I think there's a lot of mysteries to being human that we may never know, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, you're right. I think you're right there. Why do we need those things when they're I don't know. I don't know, man. No answers here. I got no answers on this one at all.
Yeah, because I think that they were ghosts. I'm pretty sure that that's what most people would call them. When I moved out to Alaska for a few years. I lived out there for about 4 years. But what it was, I was explaining to Michelle how maybe it could be like different places, that have higher energy, along the planet. And I'll give an example because Alaska, it's kind of higher, closer up to north, right?
Right.
So the thing about it is when I was there, I mean, I never really, I wouldn't say per se I seen, like ghosts or whatever, I mean, maybe this is the problem. Maybe, people, we can, like, everybody knows that, well, I don't know if everybody knows, but we're here, we'll talk about the listeners that, we can only see a frequent, we can only see so many things. We can only hear so many things. And like we were talking earlier that, there could be stuff floating around. There is stuff floating around we can't even see. But the thing about it is when you're in some places, maybe you can, like when I was in Alaska, okay, when I was explaining to, when I first got there, my brother took me out on the river just real quick. And everything to me, like even I could feel the air, like on my skin, like alive, And with that, it was just like really, it was weird. It was just really a weird feeling to me, when I could feel like the whole thing up there because you have the aurora borealis sometimes, where, you have up in those northern areas. You only see it in the northern and southern areas because you have that high frequency, that's coming through the, the earth, the sun's rays coming through. What they're saying is coming through the atmosphere, and you could see. But that's a lot of electricity. You can actually hear it popping and everything, when you ever seen underneath the northern lights. But when I was there, I remember this one time, I know many shows we talked about this, but I mean, I came back home from one night from going out to the bars with my friends, and I came back and I was washing my face off in the sink, and then it was like an older place, it looked like maybe a small hotel one time that was turned into, it was like all flat, it was like six to 8 rooms, and they had, they're like one bedroom. But anyway, I washed my face and I looked up in the mirror, to look up after I put the water on my face, and I seen an old man over my right hand shoulder. I mean, wrinkles, everything, and he's smiling at me, and I freaked the hell out, and I flipped back to the side, and there was nothing there, and I looked back in the mirror, but in the mirror I could see look like, I don't know, it almost looked like a mist, like a very fine mist that like disappeared, And that's like one. That was the second time I seen something. When I was living in my brother's house, when I first got there, I was staying with him. I seen a little girl that was like, I mean, I could explain the exact thing she was wearing. I was explaining to Michelle her little dress, her shoes, the bow ties in her hair, the color of them, and everything. But when I blinked, I was such in shock. When I blinked, though, she disappeared. So it was like, it was only like for a moment, like it was like almost a moment in time. It was pretty weird. I mean, that's only really 2 times I can really remember where I seen something like that, but I never it was never like Tam Bam was saying, it never happened to me with any kind of electronics or anything like that. So again, these guys are, these so-called hunters, they're using many different frequencies, different type stuff, trying to maybe comprehend or catch these things. But for me, I had never had anything like that happen to me.
Yeah, same here. I haven't, like I said, I've recorded a lot of things audio-wise, and I've never had something just weird, anomalous show up in a track. I was like, I mean, think about it. Like, I'm talking in a damn microphone all the freaking time. So you would expect, like, we had a guy a ways back. His name was Dan from California. I don't know if he's still listening anymore. Probably not. People kind of come and go with their schedules and whatnot. COVID came and changed everything. But he actually shared at some point. He thought he heard an EVP back in one of the shows we did in the first year. I don't know if you remember that, but he tried to share it and timestamp it and everything. And I didn't hear it. I thought it was just like an audio artifact because I'm so used to hearing audio and editing audio that when I hear some anomalous thing in there, it doesn't occur to me that, oh, well, might be an EVP. It's just just weird shit happens with audio equipment. So I don't know, like maybe I'm jaded to the point where I can't hear them and they're happening. You know what I'm saying? That's very possible that I just dismiss it entirely because I'm like, well, whatever, just cut that out or redo the take or whatever. It doesn't happen a lot, but every now and then something happens, right? Where it's like, but who knows? It could be all kinds of things. Like you said, like sound is vibration. And so, like all that stuff, it basically like acoustics ringing through a room is also somehow influenced by like a magnetic field of the earth and these types of things, right? Speaking of which, here's an interesting thing I just saw today. In the United Kingdom, speaking of the magnetic field of Earth, in the United Kingdom, they have these pigeon races. Have you heard of this? Where they get these pigeons and they tag them on their toes and whatever, their leg, and they send them out. And I guess there was some sort of anomalous thing. And so the pigeons, these homing pigeons, they are able to go wherever they're supposed to go and then find their way back because of the magnetic field of the earth, right? That's how they navigate. But then something happened. So like this was just this past weekend, I think. This just went down, or maybe it's going down right now. I just saw an article today. But they've lost tens of thousands of pigeons in these pigeon races because they think something happened to the magnetic field. And so all these pigeons are like fucked off and lost and don't know what the hell's going on. So like that's what I'm saying. It's like I think those sort of anomaly type of situations happen, and then we catch them on our audio recorders. You know what I mean? So there's the prosaic explanation that I have. But again, it doesn't make me right. It doesn't mean that I know something and you don't. It's my experience based on all the audio recording I've done in my life. So it's one of those things, right? So I don't know. I don't know the answers here, but it is curious to me that we had something happen just now. I mean, look at it. I'll try and pull that article up and we can look at it if it's fascinating, but that's nuts, right? So like something happens, a sunspot or like a coronal mass ejection, they're called. And then all the homing pigeons freak out and can't find their way home. And so these people spend all this time breeding these birds for these races or whatever they are. And we got 10,000 pigeons lost at sea or whatever, right? Crazy stuff. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah. That's, with that too, though, that's all actually, I think what's going on now is that, the polar shift, which actually is, it's not like the planet. Well, there's two different ones, the ones that like just the polar shift itself, and that's like all the energy that's moving in, a lot of birds too. They say, that's where you get a lot of the weird die-offs, and sometimes I don't want to go off on that, but I'm trying to stick to the thing. But like when someone mentioned Tesla, Tesla, he was saying, that we will, and this is one of his quotes, and I take it two different things. And his quote was that in the future we'll be able to like talk to each other, via long distance, and even see each other. And with that, some people would say it was like cell phones or television or something. But I say that it might be even a little greater than that, because I take it that the mind is very powerful. The human being is very powerful, and we are receivers. And that's one thing he had noticed, that we are receivers. We, that's like the other caller, I can't remember his name. He was talking earlier that we are receivers. But for me, it's better, the mind is better than computer. That's what we're literally trying to do AI for. But, like they want to learn faster, but that's how you learn is, through your brain frequencies. But the thing about it is, with Tesla too, he even said that, the mind, the human mind and the heart, and the earth were on the same frequency. And he even said at one time that if you can, that if you can control that, you can control every beating heart and mind on the planet. And I think that what, a lot of the things that people would say that the government is, if you want to go down that to that rabbit hole, and then it's because you have HARP and all that stuff, because they're playing with all that shit, and it's all it's true. If you can control some of that energy, you can control it. That's the only thing that and that could be like time, space, everything is. If you can control that, it's learning to grab a hold of that, learn to tweak that frequency, or even control it and to bend it in the way that you want. Maybe that's the whole clue to everything, that. But Tesla, he was a great mind, that could even create these things. That's where him and physics or people like what's his name? I can't remember. They always bumped heads anyway because they always had theories. Like Einstein. Yeah, him and Einstein always bumped because they always talking theories. But Tesla, he was an inventor.
Edison,
he had
the guys you want. Thomas Edison.
Well, no, Tesla too, though.
Right.
Tesla was he was a. Yeah, but no, I'm sorry, not Edison, but he was battling against Einstein because he was a theorist. He didn't like theorists. He didn't believe in that. He said all your equations, that other shit didn't mean anything. They were just like just like anything. If you can't really prove it, that's what he's saying. If you couldn't prove it, because he had thousands of inventions. He had patents and patents and patents, just thousands of them. And it was all through electricity, electronics, and generations or generators. Anything that had to do and produce electricity and keep it alive longer. And that's why he wanted to pull all the ion, from the ionosphere, the ionosphere, where all the electricity is at. If you could just pull that down from there, because it's constant energy. The whole planet's constantly surrounded by energy. And then, you just have like a Wi-Fi box is more or less what he was talking about. But again, that's why it's kind of weird to me that, that how can you capture it? And I don't know, maybe you can, I'm not saying you can't, but again, I have never, you see the shows, but I've never seen anybody use it or being around any of those, maybe that would be a challenge to see, who knows?
Yeah, and mysteries of the world, right? That's kind of what we're talking about here, just at large on this show. And it's good, this is a good thing to kind of open your mind and look to these things that may not be explained just yet. Imagine when, eventually, if humanity doesn't destroy itself, we'll have answers to these things. Wouldn't it be amazing if there's actually like a particular frequency that is a static frequency that we can find and we could tune into to maybe connect with, the other side of the veil of sorts. But maybe, let's say it's not static because the sun frequency is freaking out all the time. The electromagnetic field is freaking out all the time. So it makes it difficult for us to even pinpoint what the hell's going on, Like, just as an example of things that everything's squirrely on the earth, when you follow all those things, like the signals that are happening, and like you said, the pole shift is happening. Like, there's just all kinds of wacky shit going on all the time. So it makes kind of tracking down electromagnetics very difficult, right? And so another example of that, have you been watching that Skinwalker Ranch stuff, and how all their crazy instruments are always going haywire and shit like that?
I have not. I really don't watch a lot of TV, but I have never, I haven't looked on. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube and stuff. I could look at some of that, but no, I haven't seen any of that. For me, that's like almost it sounds like a goddamn portal over there or some shit. That's again, you have places that are higher energy, higher frequency, maybe than other parts of the planet. Things have come in and going. That's what's pretty interesting too. Yeah. So what Robert was saying too is kind of saying that maybe that they have a radio system on their side. So what is that like? That's where the whole preponderance of okay, what happens after you die? And I have a near-death experience where that I didn't see any light or family members or anything like that. When I died, I see my body, and then I raised above the earth, just shoot up through space, and I was flying through planets, past planets and I don't know, galaxies or whatever. But man, it was a trip. And then I don't know, I just hit a wall and I had to turn back, flip back around, and then I seen everything in reverse and everything fly what I just seen, and then back to my body. Literally, visually, it was everything. So it was, But that's the thing. I don't know, man. Is it? I don't see the whole heaven thing. To me, that's just to me to see that is I don't know, man. That's why it's hard for me to even believe in religion like that. If you after you pass, your soul goes somewhere, and we're just all kicking around. It's the best time in the world, and you know what I mean. If you go by other religions, you got 40 virgins waiting for you on the other side over there. Or,
it sounds good though, doesn't it? It sounds good. Come on, Kelly. As long as it sounds good.
One woman, hard enough. I don't need 40 of them, okay? Jesus.
That's excessive, let's say. That's like having 22 hamburgers on one plate. It's like, come on. Are you kidding me? I'm making a crude comparison. Everybody relax. Everybody relax.
Yeah. But that, to me, it's just hard to believe, to sit there that you cross over, and it's just like, like people think it's just like here on Earth, but you're immortal. You just don't ever die. It's just all like, I don't know, man. Or even hell, like, anything like weird shit like that, And I'm not saying it's not true, but why would you? I mean, energy transforms again. You know what I'm saying? That's scientifically proven, right? And it's not only that, but it's also through, like, if you even through like religion parts, like if you look at that, it's just transform of energy, right? So why do people think that we come back here, or how is we trapped here? Like when they talk about being trapped, how do you trap energy? Is it like, what I mean? It's got to pass. It's not like you can take energy and just like, and that must have to be some kind of a powerful thing to trap energy, like, because it's constantly moving, it's constantly transforming, it's constantly, we might be in this meat curtain now, but we think it's long, but like I said, a human lifespan is a blink, not even a thought of a blink of an eye,
Yeah, in the cosmic scheme of things, we're nothing. Like it's like literally, you snap your fingers and like 10 generations is gone. So yeah, I mean, I follow you there. Like I'm with you. Like the cosmic scale of things, and that's why, right? Like think of it, like we're ants. We're less than ants. Like we're amoebas trying to figure out, like the petri dish. Like this is exactly what's going on with us as humans. And and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's the human experience, but it's tragic to me that we try and lock everything into clearly because we do this show the way we do it. But it's tragic to me that we try and lock everything into a human viewpoint, and that's it. It's like everything else is like nothing. It's so selfish as a species. It's just it's kind of gross to me that there are things so much larger and more majestic than us that we can't even fathom, and we don't even give it a thought. It's kind of a gross paradigm that we live in, and the upside down, by the way. why we talk about this stuff, obviously, right?
I mean, yeah, it's a trip to think too, Mike. Is like, I do ponder some of that stuff sometimes, and I have, like, there's times where you ever thought about, once you do pass, what I mean? Like really, 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 I did that through meditation, and some people say that it's like almost a frightening. At first, it's like, for me, it was like something you do get frightened because it's something you've never really, felt before, but the feeling of death like that was, it wasn't like scary, I wouldn't say. It was just something that just happens, You really don't even know you're dead. You're just looking at your body, and it was a trip. But yeah, I don't know, man. The whole life cycle of what we think, and that's the thing too, is it something that is trying to force us down to not even believe, in some of these things? Because imagine, we think that all this, this newfangled, dangled, computers, the future, that everything's got to be like, I would say it's almost, we've lost in touch with everything like that, that we've, people were more in tune, that we were the, receptors that, but look at us now, we're wearing tennis shoes and, we're not even bare feet on the earth, we're wearing tennis shoes now, where, we lost people like my native side, you got to be in tune with Mother Earth. Well, everything that we've done, supposedly going into the future, we've actually moved away from everything because we're Earth beings. We need to be grounded and shit like that. We don't need to have, trying to like insulate ourselves from because that's what you're doing. You're insulating yourself from all the the things that are actually really that you're supposed to be in tune with nature. But we're surrounding ourselves with all this electronics that the body's not even fucking used to. You know, some of the shit like 5G, you know, that's just going to spin your skin cell or your cells, the fluid that's around it into it, you know, onto a counterclockwise position, you know what I mean? And that's going to cause your cells to disintegrate, you know what I mean? And it's going to lose all the oxygen in there. So, and that's the thing. So what are we really doing? Is it really this great? That's what I'm saying. Like going into the future, everybody thinks it's like, oh, it's all electronics, you know, everything, all the thing, you know, everything looks like, but you got to stay grounded, you know, we have to, because if you isolate yourself from that, then what are you? You know, well, you're not even a receptor anymore. You're just like a puppet. You're just being easily controlled, you know?
Yeah, we were this week. We were talking about, or recently, we were talking about the shamanic experience and shapeshifters, and that whole kind of like being in tune with nature, right? Where it's, you know, whether it's a spiritual thing or whether it's like an internal, like maybe we fool ourselves, you know. I think. Like I think when you frame it in those in different contexts about the same sort of thing, like, you know, kind of the spirit animal and this type of thing, whether you're actually reaching out and becoming the animal itself, or whether, you know, you're reaching into like a nether region, like you know, through the veil sort of situation, like I'm almost not even convinced the difference is important, right? So even if we're fooling ourselves, it's still like let's say we are, right? Let's say a bunch of the crap we talk about, we're fooling ourselves, and I don't mean it like literally. I mean it. Let's talk about it kind of in a abstract way. If we're fooling ourselves and saying like all this shit exists, it doesn't. I don't think it matters much, because having, you know, 2 feet in different universes is okay. Because look how grounded it makes some of us. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost like it doesn't matter. Like clearly, like the nuts and bolts of you know, spirituality and these things matter. But I'm saying that if you find a way to trick yourself to be zen, or be centered and grounded and in tune with that natural aspect that you're describing, like in my opinion, I don't think it matters much. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you get to where you need to be, I think there you go. There's my take. There's my hot take. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, yes, that's just pretty true. You know, but like I also there's this thing too. Like the reason why I say that is because there's this I ran across this NASA. This study that they were doing, and they were calling it the reason, you know, some astronauts, when they leave Earth, they felt like, you know, being out in outer space, you know, out on the space station, right? They had this weird feeling that they're not, like, it was like, because they're not grounded to the Earth, they're not, you know, on the ground or the Earth itself. It was like a feeling they had of like, it was like loneliness or like despair. You know what I mean? Because it was weird. It was like they were not on a planet, not like grounded or something, you know, like, so is that also that's like an electronic pulse of something like that. So that's another thing that they study, you know, through being out in space for so long, you know, how the effect on the body too, as well.
Yeah. Same thing. And so I don't know. I think, you know, as humans, unfortunately, we're kind of in that spot, right, where maybe it's now. Here's an interesting thought too. So maybe it's been like this forever. Like maybe that even way back before, you know, the very dawn of like the thought of a soul type of situation becomes. It seems like they're so close and yet so far. You know what I mean? So let's go back 200,000 years or whatever, when they say the first human brain happened or whatever, right? What this? I mean, you know, like again, it's semantics and anthropology and, you know, religion and all kinds of stuff. But let's just say, again, for argument's sake, let's go back 200,000 years and say, all right, so the first human brain that developed that's capable of modern thoughts. they had to think also that they were so close and yet so far, right? Because they were able to visualize spiritually and also look up at the sky and at the same time recognize there was something else larger than themselves. And then at the same time, they're burying their dead, right? They have loved ones that die in hunting accidents or in wars or fights or just a cancer or, the same things we're going through. So I wonder, right? I wonder if our human experience, where we, with all our technology, is very much different from back then. Because like I always say, it doesn't surprise me that the ancients were able to map the stars as accurately as they could. Because like I told you, if I was me and I would be like, run me back 10,000 years and I don't have technology, I would go to the same spot every night, sit next to the same damn tree and look at the sky with my charcoal slate or whatever, and I would draw maps, right? And you could see how shit moves through the sky. So meaning that, so I don't mean it that it's not like, so that's a physical thing that you can observe. But what I mean is us with all our electronics, we're distracted. So in the other sense, if you rewind me or you or, maybe people that are more akin to be grounded in this, whatever this is, I don't even know what we're talking about. I don't want to say enlightenment because it sounds snobbery. I don't think we're that. I don't think we're that. I'm just saying that, like, at least we're pointing in that direction, let's say. How about that? But the thing is this, if people were able to spend time communing with nature instead of being distracted by all the modern distractions, I think it's very reasonable to assume that these EVPs that we're experiencing today, they may have been able to hear audibly. You know what I mean? Like in a moment of silence in nature and by the water, or you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't surprise me. Like if it is a spiritual thing, I don't think it's new. I think it's maybe a new way for humans to experience it, but I don't think it's a new thing to humans entirely if it's a real thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. But what, that is true. But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes that it is, and that we are isolating ourselves from that, that we are no longer in touch with that anymore. We're now trying to be in touch with something else. But I don't want to be in touch with like all that electronic bullshit. I don't want to be around all that. That's why when the next property where we get, I just want to be away from all that shit. I don't want to have to wear fucking EMF clothing and fucking jewelry to fucking go to work. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to do all that shit. That's what I don't want to do. I want to be in touch with like they say, there's people think it's sayings, but these sayings are like, you say if you go to nature, you can, as long as you can hear it, and feel it, sit out there and like you're saying, underneath the same tree, looking at the same thing. But that's more power than, most people can even realize. That's what I'm saying. Everybody, all this future stuff is trying to change what the brain is already capable of doing. We have, as a species, has just lost that capability. Like even telepathy or even, through, imagine every mind melded together. We feel every thought. We know you can't lie. You can't, everybody knows just by knowing, by looking at each other, the communication through that. That's more powerful than any kind of AI connection. That's, because that's what they're looking for. That's the plan, Is that the reason for, that you send that out into space? That'd be more thought about, maybe that's what these things that we see, the whole gray, that's another thing. But that's a whole different story, man. We can go down that.
Well, isn't it amazing though how one thing leads into another, and you can literally like we could probably spend like an entire summer, roasting marshmallows, sipping on some whiskey, and talking about amazing things, and it would never end. It's endless. Like the amount of things, like one thing leads into another. And like just what you're bringing up is an entirely other show. It's unbelievable, the stuff that, once you free the human mind, and, not that we're free. I'm not claiming I'm free or ascended or anything like that. I'm just saying that, like, eventually, at some point, that the conversation becomes greater than ourselves. And I think there's a beauty in that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they say, the web, that's why everything's connected. Everything's connected to something that's connected to something else that's connected to something else. Everything is connected. We all are. That's the whole thing. That's what people don't want to, I mean, they seem to forget, you know, like, or they don't want to believe that something's connected to that. You know, there's all kinds of stories about that, you know, like the whole, what is that weird little saying, you know, 7, you know, it's like the 7, you know, or something that, you know, that's connected to something else. It's all connected. We're all connected. It's one, this planet is one big giant, you know, it's like a big giant computer system, just like anything they say too, like the scientists now are saying the fabric of time, you know, between the fabric and time space, they're seeing ones and zeros. You know, it's just crazy. I don't know, man. It's a whole, it is true though. It's, you know, you can't, by talking, it's like how we do here on this station, you know what I mean? You can connect everything, man. It is. It's just, but there is no greater force than what we would say, you know, what we would call love. Right? So, yeah. Anyway, man, besides that, I just want to give my opinion. I mean, I don't know too much about the ghost and stuff like that. I'm more into the energy or, you know, dimensional things with that. I do connections with that, but yeah, I mean, I've seen some shit, man, that I can explain that, like, what we call ghost or, you know, stuff like that. I mean, I have ran across, you know, some stuff like that, but, you know, I don't know if it's, to me, you know, that's why I look, you know, to the animals as a top. I try to go, I really strongly feel you got to go to, you know, because all that's going on nowadays, like people talking about the internet and everything else. Like you learn all this shit.
You're cutting out like crazy, Kelly. I think we've got an EVP trying to interject. You're cutting out like crazy. Can hardly hear what you're saying.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I think I moved my phone somewhere else, but like I was saying, it's just, you know, I what I do is, like, you know, all the electronics that's nowadays, everything's cool about that, but, like, you know, and then, you know, the knowledge of the internet. But for me, I go, if you want to know all the secrets, it's all going to be in the ancient histories. You know, that's why I more dabble into that, because I'm trying to track a lot of stuff down. You know, I research a lot of different people's stuff on this type. It is almost, you know, this type stuff, but it's also, it's just, man, it's great knowledge. It's just, I mean, look at the history of some of the stuff like Punupunku, you know, stuff like what those melted rocks looks like, you know, or, you know, these sharp angles and, you know, saw marks. It's just, man, to me, it's just, you know, it's just repeating itself. We just got to relearn it.
And pay attention so we don't forget history. Amen, brother. I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening. Thanks for contributing. Give our love to Michelle. Thanks for spending your time with us, man.
All right, brother. You guys take it easy, man. Peace to the family.
Thanks, man. You too. Thanks. That's Kelly from Colorado. Appreciate it. Always good stuff. And let's go to Jay. We're talking about EVPs, all right, in general. So, like, it's interesting that when you start a conversation in particular terms, and then you end up not really, you can literally just kind of point to one thing and just keep going after the same thing. But when you let a conversation kind of range, you see what happens, right? It's like the human mind isn't locked into just, you know, this is the wheel and the wheel rolls on the road, you know, like there's an unbelievable amount of things that we consider and we cope with and we try to overcome. And much of that is ourselves. And so here we are, we start with EVPs and we end up talking about, you know, in generic terms, the secrets of the universe. Crazy stuff. Let's go. So we're talking about EVPs and ghosts tonight. What do you think they are? Let's go to Jay. What's up, my friend? How are you tonight?
Hi, Mike. Thanks a lot for that. That was perfect. That was right on time. Awesome. That was a cool transition.
Welcome to the show.
Just shut everything else down and hey, you're ready. Wow. Fantastic show after fantastic show. I feel like I can't say that enough about what you're doing here. You're getting them, like, intelligent people to call and have a decent conversation about ghosts and the EVPs today. You know, I have personal experience with it. I'm trying to sort it out with you right now. You know?
Okay. Please explain. Please explain. What? Okay, first, before you tell us the story, do you think EVPs are real?
I've seen, someone having a conversation with the ghost box, or I can't remember what the guy called it. He called it something.
Or Dybbuk, right? I think that's what it's called. Okay, all right. So go ahead. Tell us the story. So you think it's real? I'd love to hear it. Please tell us.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen crazy stuff like that happen. You know, I mean, there's 98% of me wants to believe it's absolutely 100% real, but there's that little 2% is I want the scientific. Where's the data? You know, how do we know this is true? And I think maybe it's beyond our comprehension. I don't know. You know. I mean,
I think that's okay. I mean, like I think that's part of the problem with people in general, you know, among many things. But I think we have a really, an aversion to saying we don't know. I mean, it's okay. I mean, fuck's sakes, we're meat puppets. we're meat puppets on this blue marble. You know what I'm saying? Like look what's out there. Of course, it's okay to say we don't know. Of course. But like the society we live in, right? Like you go to a job interview, like think about it in terms of just a stupid job interview. Like they don't want you to say, I don't know, right? They want you to bullshit them. You know what I'm saying? They want you to be like, oh yeah, I fucking know about all those things. I've driven a forklift. I've done this. I've done that. I've done the other. They don't want you to fucking say, I don't know about anything. You see, it's more of a...
Well, I get hired, Mike, because I'm the guy who goes in there and says, I don't know, but I'll do my best to figure it out.
Well, there you go. There's the opposite. But anyway, okay, I digress. but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that we don't know. But anyway, so tell us about your EVP, my man.
Well, I mean, with the ghost hunters and stuff like that, you know, I had a place that, you know, they brought it in there. They're begging, emails and everything else like that. Please let us come in and do our thing. And we had, you know, 2-3 of them come. The fourth one's never came because my partner got freaked out on the third one. And he just didn't like it because there was some stuff going on, noises and, you know, clanging and whatever, and wasn't anything set up. It was my building. I was the only person ever in and out of there because it was a decrepit mess, so I didn't really let people in there. And these guys came in, and it was really funny that they all come in like groups of 3-4 because they have like a spiritual person that reads the little prayer that I was trying to look for, because I always feel like I should say that prayer before I go to bed after talking about this kind of stuff, seeing as I live in a funeral home. But it's just, it's odd that the more you do it, the more you get in tune with it, and you see it and you feel it, and, you know, temperature drops, you know, things like that. I've definitely experienced, you know, huge temperature drops in the house, and it's just like, wow, that's nuts. The TV, you used to go over there and push the button off, and it wouldn't go off, and then you'd like click it a whole bunch of times, and then it'd go on and off, but it'd always end up back on. Just don't turn it off, you know. It was the philosophy. We don't turn it off now. And I've lived here, had a 22-year way now, I think. But you know, the guys with the one box, they worked at that Macintosh Labs that builds the high-end radio equipment and sound equipment and stuff like that. They actually made their own, and they were like, dude, we want in your building after what we saw with the girls that came from Syracuse. And it was like, okay, no problem. But we want to give it like 6-8 months for everything to calm down, because of some big reason that the ghost hunting thing is. You don't want to do it like one right after another, because they lose their energy, because they only have so much energy, and it doesn't show up on the... You said the box, and that kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah, hold on. I got somebody in the chat that actually corrected me. I think Larry's out there. Larry's always lurking. He's rarely chatting, but he's always out there lurking. Larry says the Ovalus Spirit Box. Thank you, Larry. What's up, Larry? How come you're never chatting, bro? What's up, Larry? You've been with us for years, my man. Chat some more. If you don't chat, I can't say your name, and I like to say Larry. What's up, buddy? The Ovalus Spirit Box. We'll go with that because Larry said it. But okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll believe it because I don't know. I met the guys one time. Talked to them. Email, a couple of phone calls, and they came over, and that was that. I think I might be capable of giving you their picture because I'm not listening to you on the iPad now.
All right. You upgraded? What happened?
No, I mean, I'm listening to you on the phone because that's where the Discord is. But I might be able to get their picture because I have all the pictures of the temple in there.
Nice.
And the iPad because I never got rid of it.
Nice. So Jay,
because that's where all the pictures are.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm getting off topic.
That's okay. Let me fill in the blanks. People that don't know, Jay owned a Masonic temple that used to be back in the day. He acquired it with a partner of his, and they had some ghost hunters begging to come do some actual EVP sessions and spirit type hunting inside this huge Masonic temple. So that's where he's always talking about. So he's talking in context from stories he's told us in the past. But if you're just tuning in and you don't know what he's talking about, that's what he's talking about. And so let's get to the rest of this. Reading some chat here. Thank you, Larry. Thanks again, Larry, for the great chat. Thanks everybody for the great chat. Like I said, and so here's the thing. Jay says, fantastic show after fantastic show, but you got to realize half the show is me talking, and the other half is you guys talking. You see. So if you do it right, if we do this right, we can do an amazing thing together. And that's always been the idea. And so we're there. Like the first 6 months were brutal because everybody was like distrustful and all this other shit. But now look at all these amazing people we have. Sorry, Jay. Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point is we can have a real conversation, and not be mean and nasty and open your mind a little bit. I'm not saying I believe all the stuff that ever comes around and all, but if somebody else is talking about it, me talking about my personal experiences of what we saw and stuff like that when we were doing the ghost hunter trip at the temple, it might let somebody else think something, I mean, that's one of the things that I've learned in all of this is that we're never going to think about it if somebody doesn't ever bring it up. Exactly. And that's the cool thing about the show.
Amen. That boils it down, Jay. You boil down the whole show into like a single sentence. I've tried 3 years to do that. I can't do that. I ramble on for like a.
Feel free to steal it.
All right.
You have my permission to steal it.
Nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So tell us about the EVPs. So the ghost hunters came to this Masonic temple that you owned and did some EVP sessions and looked for some ghosts. So what happened?
So the first ones came and they had some experiences, and I kind of made like a middle note which parts of the buildings they were in. And then the second ones came, and then I kind of, watched them, and I let them around and tried not to, hey, this is where the other guys picked up something. Where do you feel like you should go? And I followed them around. Well, the second group that came around, the first group was kind of like it was more of a little bit of a campy thing. They were trying to sell the trips on Halloween for the party that we were trying to get in there before we got shut down on the city. Not to segue. But the third group that came in, these guys were serious. I mean, they had the tree stand, the 30-06, the camo. I mean, everything. Everywhere we went, they were.
Wait, they were packing? They were camo and packing guns to hunt ghosts?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay. I was going to say, holy shit.
My partner does carry a gun, and somebody slammed the door. We left the door open to the building, so somebody came in the building. And I know the building like my back of my hand in the dark because there's only power in like 1%. So I go taking off to the door saying, this is private property, get out. So he's coming down the stairs from the dork rooms upstairs, and I'm already on my way back up from locking the door that we forgot to lock when everybody came in. And he pulls out a gun, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, well, there's a ghost. And I'm like, you're going to shoot a ghost, dude. I mean, come on. Think about that for like 2 seconds, dude.
You know what's hilarious?
The thing is dead.
You know what's hilarious about that? Is that like they have this, if you've watched the Skinwalker Ranch show, if you guys have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. There's like the
dude, loaded.
The guy's name is Dragon, and he's like the security guy, and he's always packing guns. And you're like, bro, They're like ghost wolves that don't respond to bullets. Like your fear is fucked.
The reason why they're here is because you melted some dude's brain and put him in the hospital forever, and you think you're going after that with a gun? Brilliant, dude. Absolutely brilliant.
Exactly. I got a so go ahead, tell us the story. I've got a question in the chat from Night Stalker to ask you particularly, but go ahead. So tell us. So what happened? They came in, they started doing their thing, and what did they find? Let's go to that.
So the room under the stage, which the previous ghost hunters have always had the creepy feeling. I always had a creepy feeling in there so much that other than passing through that room real quick, I never did anything in there. And it was one of the rooms that needed a lot of attention because the roof drains all came down through there and everything. And I just, I'll go work on this today. Every time you walked in there, it was like, get out of there. Don't do it.
I see. Okay.
So the guy's going there with the ghost box. The little girl is in there and everything else like that. The spirit prayer girl, I think we should leave. And the ghost box starts going off like nuts. They're asking us questions. Are Jay and John doing a good job here? Do you like what's trying to be done with the building? But yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. The thing's going off. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. They're asking it yes and no questions and it's answering. And then they started, are we annoying you and stuff like that? And the thing is like, yes, maybe. And it's like, wow. And it's like, do you want us to leave? Yes, yes, yes. Do you want us to leave? The thing starts going nuts. And I look at the guy and I says, dude, I'm not even 100% sure what to think of what's going on here, but it's time to quit, man. That thing just told you to beat it. There's another place down the hallway that I know the other guy's got it hit. Why don't we leave this guy alone and go to the other guy? And the little girl leaves the room, I leave the room, the wife leaves the room, my partner leaves the room, everything else like that. And thank God we're off the air. Douchebag there keeps antagonizing the thing, and the machine is going nuts. And I'm like, wow, I mean, is he just doing this to get data? Because they were all about collecting the lights and stuff like that were on the box just to show that they were getting something. And he wanted to prove that the box was collecting all this data, and by the waves that were coming in. These guys were unbelievable engineers for one of the top sound companies in the world. People spend $20,000 to listen to the radio with 2 speakers. But he was really into it, and I was like, I don't know, why would you mess with them like that? You got your data. Move on to the next one. But that's pretty much the story there. And that's when my partner and I actually kind of split ways a little bit there. And I have 2 philosophies. One, when we were meeting with the senator, he made an ass out of himself because he was drunk because it was the beer thing. And his wife got pissed at him. Or what was on that data from Macintosh Labs freaked him out so bad. He never came back, and he wouldn't come back in the building after the Macintosh Lab. I shouldn't use that name. The third set of ghost hunters.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, Jay has sent me a disc that he thinks is data from that particular ghost hunt in that the Masonic Temple. So it should be in my P.O. box. I'm going to go down and I'm going to check it out. So at some point, if we can retrieve some of this data, we'll do a show. And when you have time, Jay, we'll get you on and we'll talk about this. And we'll do a show kind of with this particular ghost hunt data, which would be an exclusive in many ways. So
I'm trying to get from all 3 of them, actually.
Okay.
I'm going through the old Instagram account for... Actually, somebody might be able to find it. I can't access it because I don't have an Instagram account anymore. I can't remember the password to it because when I lost the building, I just stopped posting.
Okay, boomer.
I'm old. I'm sorry. I'd rather listen to your show than play with the computer.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. All right. So great stuff. Like I said, stay tuned to Troubled Minds because I don't know what's on that disc, but I'll go through it. And if we have some actual information, maybe some real EVPs, maybe some real video, I don't know. We're gonna find out. But it should be in the PO box. I'll go try and pick it up tomorrow, at least this weekend for sure. And then we'll go through it. And if it's something we can go through and actually parse the data, we can talk about a particular ghost hunt that happened. How many years ago was this?
4, 5, 4.
5 years ago. There you go. 4 years ago. Perfect.
Jude was born.
Perfect.
Dude was a year old. Dude's 5 now, so 4 years ago.
Nice. Night Stalker says in the chat, spirits using flesh boxes, maybe. I love it. I love the idea. I love the idea.
I tried to distance myself from the whole thing. Like, when I was over there and stuff like that, because I'd go over there every night after the wife and kids went to bed, and I would put in 2 hours just sweeping the hallways and cleaning it up so I could show people what we were trying to do there, you know, get commercial rented space out and stuff like that to, you know, well, obviously you don't buy a building unless you want to make money, you know, so I was trying to figure out something to do with it to make money. So the best way to do that is, you know, there's 3,000 square feet in this space. We'll build you whatever you want. You know, there's 10,000 square feet in this space. You know, what do you want? What's your idea?
Right, exactly, exactly. What's up? Shout out to quick shout out to Dwayne Dibley. What's up, my friend? I'm reading your chat there. Good stuff. Dwayne says maybe it's coming through from another dimension. People in parallel dimensions may be listening to us on spirit boxes. Night Stalker adds spirits using flesh boxes, maybe. And Dwayne says doesn't have to be from the dead. And that's the type of, right. Like once you open your mind, it's funny. We have this again. There's like a lane of thinking, right? It's like conventional thinking. But then once you start like kind of peeling outside of that, the conversation becomes big. And good stuff, Dwayne. And what's up, Dwayne? Shout out to Dwayne Dibley, who taught me how to bypass the the paywalls.
I need to talk to that guy.
Bypass the paywalls. I'll teach you. All right. So anyway, let's wrap this up, Jay. Let's wrap this up. So we'll get to the ghost hunt if we have the data on the disc. But in the end, do you think EVPs are real? Do you really think that? What do you think? Okay. So you said you think they're real. What do you think they are? How about that? Give us your theory on what they might be.
I think it's lingering. You know, the stuff that I see in the house, you know, I don't think it's the fact that it's a funeral home. I think that it's the fact that it's so old that everybody that lived here died here because that's how it worked back then. And I think there's like residual energy, you know, left on. And in my house, they like to have the TV on. So we have the TV on. We have the radio on in the kitchen, never turn it off. We have the TV on in the living room, never turn it off. And you don't seem to hear the door slamming and the footsteps and the creaking and the whatever. As long as you do those two things, it's like it's, I don't know, a little agreement between the two of us. You know, we don't want to really mess with you. You really don't want to mess with us. All we want is the TV and the radio. Cool. You know, we'll leave it on for you. You know, I think it's residual energy, whether it's from people or beings or whatever. That's something that I can't answer, but I would say that it's probably, you know, people that, you know, didn't want to leave or love their place so much or whatever it was. You know, you go to the Native American burial grounds and stuff like that. There's a real energy there. You know, there's a real peaceful, in my opinion, energy there.
Yeah, agreed. But again, the nature energy. It's like Matt was saying. There's something to be said for like barefoot, like actual bare feet on the dirt, not in the city, but in like the country, right out there in the forest where your feet are on leaves. You know, it's like those things are alive too, and the leaves may be dying and falling off the tree, but those things are still alive. You know, like. And not only that, there's a weird, I could go on forever, you guys know me, but there's a weird, interesting thing, if you guys haven't seen The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, where they found these magnetic anomalies in the soil, and they were able to actually light up a flashlight by running a current from 60 feet away from one point of the soil to another, and then be able to hook up a flashlight and light this sucker up as using the dirt. The soil itself is the third part of the circuit. So I mean, there's some sick shit that's happening with the earth itself that I think that you know, with the minerals and things that are buried, we don't even know, man. Like we don't even know. Like the things we think we know, we don't even freaking know. And so here we are talking about.
Look how much effort we're putting into getting rare earth magnets right now. I mean, we're dumping over billions of tons of dirt for millions.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. That's a good point.
I mean, what if we're doing it the wrong way? You know, need a bunch of people to go out there and hold hands and sing "Kumbaya," and it'll just be in the air. I'm making a joke, but
right. Dark Devious wants to know if it was TAPS doing the investigation. I know the answer to that. It's no. It was kind of like a local ghost hunting crew out near Jay, out in New York. There.
Yeah, everybody here was like within. Syracuse is less than an hour away, and it's the other guys were definitely here local.
Okay, and then he wants to know: do you think it followed you home?
No, they say a little prayer. I did it on your show, and I actually went looking for the prayer.
That's right.
I was looking for it. It's not in the. Someone asked me to put a picture of it in the general, and I went back through my general pictures, and it's gone.
That's why you got to pin shit. If you don't pin shit in Discord, it scrolls so hard and so fast. It's so hard to find things in Discord. That's why I have all the different sections. So if you put things...
But I only have like 15, 20 pictures.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot. I delete them,
If you want a special Discord section for you, let me know. I'll make you one. And you can put all your shit in there. It's all good. It's almost better than... So I use Dropbox. I use all kinds of other shit, right? Google Drive. Discord's better than all those things, all by itself. And if you pay, it's $10 a month, and it's basically unlimited hosting for all kinds of shit. It's amazing. So anyway, just I'll stop gushing about Discord, but it's better than all that shit because it can do all these things. We can live stream this whole show that we did tonight. I could do on Discord with the whole video and the whole backgrounds and the whole deal. I could do all of it on Discord. It's unbelievable. Anyway. There we go. So let's finish this up, Jay. Let's crank this sucker out. You got a quote for us tonight? Let's do the outro. Outro with Jay. Thanks for telling us your story, my man.
No problem. It's a pleasure. You taught me about that Lovecraft guy last night, and this was the first one that I found, which kind of seems to go in place with today.
All right. Fire away, sir.
It is absolutely necessary for the peace and safety of mankind that some of Earth's dark and dead corners, unplummeted depths be let alone, lest sleeping abnormalities wake resurgent life and blasphemy surviving nightmares squirm and splish out of their back lairs to newer and wider conquests. That was the first one that popped up when I put his name in.
I told you.
I was like, wow.
It gives me the chills.
This dude is off the hook, man.
The way that dude writes gives me the chills. It's
it was the first one.
I'm telling you, man. You're scratching the surface. Get some of his shit. I linked it in the last episode. That Lovecraft stuff. They're audiobooks. They're free. They're fucking free. Go listen to some Lovecraft. I'll cut some up. We'll put some on a future episode eventually of Troubled Minds because it's in the public domain, some of these things. But holy shit, dude. Like, does that not give you the chills reading that? Like, that is... Like, there's some people that can write well, and there's some people that fucking spit hot fire with a pen. And that dude... Holy shit. Holy shit. Anyway, we're done. What's up, Daryl? I see you there. What's up, Night Stalker? The J-Tro. The J-outro. The J-Tro. There it is. Jay, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks everybody for all your calls tonight. Thanks for all the thoughtful chat. Like I said, I can't thank you guys enough. I know you could be doing 10,000, a million other things right now, and you're here with us. And I'm honored by that. And thank you for spending your time and spending your brain power, which is limited, with us. It is a very good thing. So as we finish, this is Thursday night, and it's the end of the week for Troubled Minds. So what we'll do tomorrow is we'll have the news show at 3 p.m. Pacific, and next week is to be determined. We have some things up in the air, so I'll let you know. If you have not joined the Discord, please do. TroubledMinds.org. Click the Discord link and come join the chat. Come meet all these smart people. All these amazing callers. Most of these people, almost all of them, are on the Discord. Get your ass in here and come say hi. Share your ideas. That's what we do. Just don't get too locked into telling people they're wrong. It's okay to share ideas and then still be friends. Jay, what's up, buddy? Let's get the fuck out of here.
Good night, Mike. Good night, all. I just, wow. I mean, I don't know, Mike. I could go on for hours and hours and hours and hours about all of it,
Well, I can too, and it's on record.
I know.
But we have to end it.
Spotify is the new one, right?
We have to end it at some point. We have to end it at some point. Thank you, Daryl, for your fantastic call tonight, and thank you for sharing this story there. We got to go. We're out of here. 3+ hours, 3 hours, 20 minutes. We're trucking along. I'm hungry.
That's all my fault. I'm sorry, Mike.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Look, this is the thing. We have extra time. It's all good. God willing, we have extra time. All right, this is the thing. Thank you for listening. Be sure, be strong, be true. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. for the news show.